And welcome, guys, to Nerd TV for another race here for the Best One RSR Next Gen Cup Series for the ERL Racing League. This time coming at you live from Pocono Raceway, simulated, of course, on the iRacing service. And if you caught a race yesterday, we saw practice temps running at about 110 degrees on track. A little bit cooler tonight on a Tuesday, 99 degrees. When you say cooler, that's respectably, of course, compared to yesterday. Cloudy, or partly cloudy, 78 degrees in the skies, so that stays about the same, and so is the wind. So fairly similar weather than what we saw yesterday. 56% humidity as well. And, well, this is going to present an awesome race here. We saw a lot of passing last night, and if you caught the actual Cup race on Sunday, a lot of racing, a lot of 2x2, and there's a third and fourth groove, and we're going to find all that out here for 85 laps tonight. My name, of course, is Jeremy Stanley. Catch me online as Swifty. And then also I got Jason Rockefeller to my right. How are you doing tonight?
I'm here, buddy. I'm back. Unfortunately, missed the race last night due to being in Pocono, but I'm ready to go. Also, I did not notice that you are in the broadcast booth, the actual broadcast booth. I absolutely love it, and you're supporting Pink, and so are you. I guess I'm the only one who's working from home tonight. But I'm looking forward to this race. I had a blast in Pocono this weekend. I will say the fan zone, the new upgraded fan zone there for anybody who is around the Pocono area is looking to go, definitely worth it. A lot of fun. Biggest Pocono crowd since 2010. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It was so much fun. But I'm ready to go here tonight. Saw some great racing on Sunday. I saw some great racing in the Cup Series for you guys over at the FTSR yesterday for Mach 1. I'm ready to call these next-gen cars here tonight for the RSR boys. Should be a fun one.
Yeah, we got really jealous of how you were able to go to the actual race here on Sunday. So we wanted to be a part of the broadcast booth at the track this time while you're at home. So just kind of, back and forth there. But to your right is going to be Mr. Dustin Loxton, our producer for tonight. How you doing, guy?
Hey, back at it, calling another Pocono race. I tell you what, if this race is anything like the other two previous Pocono races we've seen, this is going to be a hell of a show. This track here just continues to keep providing amazing racing. You're not talking one groove, two groove, choo-choo, follow the leader type deal. I mean, you're talking these guys are running 3-4 different grooves. They're snaking down the straightaways back and forth. They're playing draft, pit strategy thrown in there. Not to mention that you have one of the most unique tracks on the circuit. 3 different straightaway links, 3 different corners. There is nothing normal about this track.
Nothing at all here, and we're actually looking on the 28 here. Ryan Bean, who was fastest in practice, put up a stellar 53.552. As you see him going down the backstretch here, well, the first and second part, he was moving that car left and right, trying to build all the heat up possible in those tires. He's going to scrub the first lap, and this lap should be the heater, but I'm looking forward to this race as well. I said it yesterday, and I'll say it again. Like, I used to not care for this track. I see it on the schedule, I throw it away, I just say it's another week. But it's been so racy here these past couple of years. I have really come to enjoy watching anything virtually or in the real world here at Pocono. So definitely excited to watch the RSR boys take care of it here tonight.
I've got to laugh because it's funny. It's funny you should say that, Jeremy, because just as you were talking about, you despise seeing this track on the schedule. Richie Coy on YouTube posted up and said, I still don't like this track on iRacing.
Well, from the guy who finished second last night, it's quite impressive that you don't. It's kind of like the Brody Hanna treatment, right? Where you just you don't like something and then you excel at it. But either way, Ryan Bean jumps up, I think, P2 on the board there early on. Blake Howell still P1. But yeah, welcome Richie Coy to the chats, by the way. Hopefully you enjoyed tonight's broadcast as well. And of course, everybody else that's watching on Nerd TV via Facebook, YouTube, and Kick.com.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting race, obviously. I haven't seen the Cup cars run. I watched a little bit of the broadcast last night. That was an interesting one, to say the least. And obviously, these Cup cars, I got to see it in person on Sunday. This is going to be a very big drafting racetrack. I called the Martin Sports Truck Series just last week with you boys here. And this is not going to be any more different. These things are very aero dependent too. You can beat and bang them a little bit more than you can say the trucks on iRacing nowadays. But this is going to be very, very difficult here tonight. Obviously, these things with the rack and pinion steer, it's going to be very hard to save the thing. If you do, in fact, get loose, these things have a lot more mechanical grip nowadays. So you're going to see a lot more grip, a lot more corner speed, especially through the tunnel turn. A few years ago, you really weren't able to go through there 2 and 3 wide. But not only on iRacing can you do it, but on Sunday, we saw that a ton going through. I could not tell you the amount of times I was jumping up in my seat right over there, right by the pit exit wall there. And I was like, oh my God, they're not going to make it. But somehow, some way, these guys make it through the tunnel turn nowadays with these new next-gen cars. So this has become one of the raciest tracks on the schedule now, like you said, Jeremy and Dustin. And it's going to be an interesting one to say the least tonight. It's going to be interesting to see who can handle all 3 corners here tonight. Obviously, being different from Trenton to Indianapolis and Milwaukee. This is going to be a very fun race to call tonight.
And to overuse that word tricky, that rack and pinions here you're talking about, we saw quite a few instances yesterday where a lot of cars getting loose and then one little sharp turn of the wheel and that thing overcorrects in a hurry and took out quite a few cars yesterday. So what's they're going to have more of that tonight, or if these guys have it figured out just a little bit better. But it's our turn to get our faces off your guys' screen. These guys are getting on the grid here for this 33-car race at the Best One RSR Next Gen Cup Series. And starting P1 here is going to be Blake Howell. Second place is going to be Ryan Bean. Adam Boughton's going to be starting in 3rd. Harold Watkins in 4th. Nolan Potter in 5th. Michael Sheffield's going to be starting in P6. Michael Carter, 7th place. Starting in 8th, Matt Hayden. 9th place belongs to Brock Potter. And 10th place, Zach Schrenthal.
Forgive me if I butcher any of these names, still learning them. But starting 11th tonight, James Cotrone in the 38 machine tonight. Starting 12th in the 99, Kevin Ruff. 13th, Andrew Little in the 68. 14th, Rob Fitzpatrick Jr. in the number 3 machine. 15th, Rusty Modesty in the number 6 machine. Nathan Campbell in the 16th position. 17th is Anthony Ludi. 18th is Stephen Baldwin Jr. 19th is Kane Lee. And 20th on the grid is Jerry Culver in the number 13 Camaro.
21st, you're going to find Justin Hendry. 22nd, Matt Upbrook. 23rd is going to be James Fitzmaurice. 24th place belongs to Mark Thibodeau. 25th, Anthony Yuns. 26th, Harold Rothery. 27th, Stan Carnathan. 28th place, Kevin Zabladil. 29th place is going to be Brian Fine. And 30th place, Richard Gonzalez. 31st, Robert Fitzpatrick Sr. 32nd, James Wright. And tonight's 33rd car on the field, Michael Martino. And going to the chat, Sheila Geary asking about the point standings. Well, we have 2 different guys with wins through 2 races, and Ryan Bean does lead Nate Campbell over the points by a mere 4 points. So Ryan Bean P1, Nate Campbell P2. 3rd place, 9 points out, Matt Hayden. 4th place, 10 points out is Blake Howell, and Kevin Ruff is the 5th place guy on the points for the first 2 races. And this race is presented by 213 Simware. It's a tricky name because it's the 213 Simware 212. I don't know how they got 212 when this race sponsor is 213, but we're going to run with it. And I'm excited for this race, Jason.
Excited, obviously, and like I had said, I had never called a race yet with the next-gen cars here at the Tricky Triangle, so I'm very interested to see. Had a blast this weekend at Pocono, like I keep talking about. Wish I was there rather than sitting at home right now, but at least the positive thing is calling a race here with you guys over on Nerd TV, because it's always a blessing, always a great thing to do. I'm looking forward to it, though, because I haven't really seen what these cars can exactly do. I actually, believe it or not, do not own this track for it being my home track, living on the East Coast, right where the Jersey Shore starts, only 2 hours away from where I reside here on the Jersey Shore. So never driven this track, only the legacy track. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm excited to see how the drafting works, how the passing works, if the outside is just as strong as it is like it was on Sunday. It should be a very interesting one, and I expect restarts to get very fanned out going down.
What we learned from Wednesday when we watched this race for the first time through Nerd TV is that first turn. There is a groove in the third and fourth lane I had no idea existed. I guess it's newer to the service, and a lot of people on the restarts were utilizing that third and fourth groove. And even I think yesterday we saw 2 or 3 guys just consistently run up there and getting hellacious runs off the corner. And then turn 3 especially, Jason, if you're going to watch out for the high line, turn 3, if you go to the third groove, you get at least a 2 or 3 mile an hour advantage on corner exit, which, at some tracks that wouldn't matter, but when your straightaway is over a mile long and you come off the corner with a 3 mile an hour advantage, it sets you up so well into the next corner. So that's definitely something to keep an eye out as far as strategy calls go.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that outside lane, we saw it on Wednesday night. Kenny Brady was continuously using it in the truck, which has a lot less grip. I mean, obviously not a lot less grip, but, with not so much mechanical grip in the rear of that truck, he was able to rip the top pretty well. A lot of guys in Road to Pro, when I called it for LSR TV and FTN over on Thursday night last week, some guys were using it on restarts, especially in the later portion of it when it came down to late racing restarts. So don't count out that outside lane with worn tires. Heck, even if you have fresh tires, that outside lane tends to work just a tad bit. So we'll have to see here. Obviously, all series are different. All drivers are different, especially skill set wise from, RSR to, the FTSR and everything else. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm really looking to see if tonight's, winner is going to be a Stealth Motorsports or Zab Motorsports driver here tonight as well.
These guys are about ready to go to Green Flag Racing. 85 laps tonight. Stage break will happen at the end of lap 25. And these guys have the set of tires underneath them right now, plus 2 more behind pit wall. So you got to make sure you have all those tires ready for you toward the end of the race. But here we are. Green flag is out. Blake Howell in the 28 there of Ryan Bean. Almost dead heat. Slight advantage to the outside lane. Ryan Bean's going to carry the 23 of Harold Watkins with him. Looks like the 28 might clear Blake. He does going through one side by side, second and third. Everybody else 2 on 2 back.
Everybody else 2 on 2 back. You saw one car duck out of line right back there. I believe that was Schrittenthal in the number 2 machine. If not, it could have been Nolan Potter or Michael Carter there. That is the number 3. So maybe it was Rob Fitzpatrick, actually. But they were all able to get through turns 1 and 2 cleanly as they head across the tunnel, turn down into the short chute, heading for turn number 3. As you look at the 24, Michael Carter on your screen, looking down to the inside of Kevin Ruff there in the 99 Ford Mustang as they head out of 3.
You see a lot of guys utilizing that third lane. I saw not many people in the second. So all the advantage there is the first or third lane. And a little 3-wide action down the straightaway to start off lap number 2. It looks like pretty much single file for the most part behind these guys. They go into 2-wide mode here. The 24 of Carter's going to drop back out of that race between the 4 there. Going through now the second longest straightaway on the track. Quickly, just like we've seen in all the racing so far here at Pocono this week, get single file pretty quick. Very typical for Pocono.
Yeah, and I noticed that a ton here on Sunday, Jeremy, when I was watching the Cup race from the grandstands, is if you did not get in line, like, for example, you're looking at Brock Potter right there, that number 4 Top Golf Camry. These guys are going to get single file down this front straightaway. Now, he's got a drafting buddy right up ahead of him. That's James Catrone in the 38 machine, but he ducks in line. Now they're in line, so take a look at that 6. Rusty Modsty right there in that number 6 Ford. He's on the bottom, and he was way back there, and these guys are going to have a huge draft wake on the top side. So you want to make sure that you have a somewhat of a draft wake down these straightaways, because if you don't, you're going to get pulled back big time, and it's going to be really, really tough to find yourself back in line here once you get into these straightaways.
Yeah, 100% here. Jumping to the chats again, Mark Martino saying that there's more of a percentage chance of rain at Pocono. Jason, you could probably attest to that. And then Sherry Culver saying, come on, Jerry Culver. We got the cheerleaders already on the chats. And then Steve Potter, thanks for the assist. I'm going to keep butchering it, not intentionally, but Schrittenthal is what you got there. I'm going to use your visual there as my reference point here tonight. but we're already starting to see a couple of formations of packs, so to speak. Minus your leader, Ryan Bean, who's already gapped this field over a second, all by his lonesome. Looks like maybe second through sixth has a little pack going on, at least trying to get separated from seventh on back, but for the most part, still single file. But these guys are still going to remain racy. You see a lot of two wide there, maybe one car hit the wall on the outside there of corner exit number 1. The number 5 is going to drop in line here. That's going to be Hayden. And we're looking at Kevin Ruff here going side by side through turn 2.
Kevin Ruff down to the inside of Brock Potter, trying to find himself in line or clearing Brock Potter and Bob Fitzpatrick there, but he's going to fall back in line right in front of Michael Carter there. Almost a little bit of contact heading into turn 3. The 24 of Michael Carter all the way up the racetrack nearly hits the wall off turn number 3. Some other guys filing out back behind them, going from double to single file, get all aboard the Pennsylvania Railroad, because that's basically what this is here down this very long straightaway into that Trenton Speedway inspired turn number 1. You're on board with Rusty Monsty there in the number 6 machine. Has a little bit lower entry, or exit I should say, because he's got the 24 Michael Carter there on the outside. He'll tuck back in line now right behind this Skull number 24 Camaro as they head into the tunnel turn.
Single file through the field, and they got a short stint here on 25 laps, so I recommend a lot of these guys to push the issue just a little bit. See how much you can get out of these tires for this short run, because that'll really set you up for the other 55 laps after the restart on stage number 2. But right now, these guys are just playing it pretty conservative for the most part. Looks like the 46 or the 34 and the 45 getting underneath the number 10 right here, going down the long straightaway, trying to get that advantage. Let's see if the 10 here of Boughton utilizes the third groove. Nope, he's going to drop it down to the second groove, try to pinch the corner from the 34 of Potter. Almost, I think, maybe of slight contact there. But they keep it going straight here. Another 34 is going to get the side draft coming to the tunnel turn.
Yeah, 34 side drafting the 10 going into the tunnel turn. Got the entry speed, but the 10 can still hang tough up on the outside. Oh, contact made heading through the exit of the corner. That's going to open up the door for the 45 of Nate Campbell there. He's looking to the outside now of Potter, and they're almost going to go 3 wide here heading through turn number 3 back to 2. And off turn number 3, they're 2, 3, almost 4 wide there because the 38 was looking to make a move. That's James Quattrone there in that Chevrolet Camaro. But now the 10 is all out of shape, out of line. That outside lane is going really, really fast down to turn number 1.
A lot of these guys utilizing the second lane here. Yesterday and Sunday we saw a lot more on the third groove, but right now the 10 of Adam Boughton is feeling the effects of the high line, just having so much more grip. He's going to lose the position to the 34 of Nolan Potter. He's going to lose it to the 38 of James Quattrone, the number 3 there about Bob Fitzpatrick, and then now almost to the number 4 as well, Brock Potter. But he's able to get right back in line between the 3 and the 4 car here, going down the short straightaway in turn 3. And these guys are still getting a little bit more spaced out, but looks like we got a pass maybe just inside the top 5.
Everybody kind of just trying to figure out which lane their car handles the best right now at the tricky triangle. All the way from turn 1 to turn 2 to turn number 3. 1 car out of line right there down to the bottom of the racetrack. That's the 34 machine. Nolan Potter to the inside of Matt Hayden, who's been very fast these first 2 weeks in part 2 of the 2023 season. He's not going to be able to clear the 5 off the corner, though. Tried to look to the inside, wasn't able to do it. He'll tuck back in line here right behind the 5 of Hayden.
That speed there on corner exit number 1 is still just really fast there. You see Matt Hayden just clear the 34. Potter, no problem whatsoever. The 34, though, is going to go back to the inside of Matt Hayden here, going to turn number 3. The 5 is going to utilize the grip on his right side on the 3rd lane. Comes down a little bit on center corner, gets to exit, but it's not going to be enough. The 34 is going to secure that spot, and now we got the number 38 of James Quattrone looking to the inside of Matt Hayden.
34 textbook pass there heading through turn number 3. You saw him kind of try to make the 5 go a little bit wide on the exit, gave him a lane, but didn't give him enough room to where he was going to be able to suck him back there on the outside off 3, was able to clear him there off the corner. So now that's going to give him to fall into the clutches of James Catrone there in the 38 machine. It's also bringing around Adam Bowden, the 3 machine of Bob Fitzpatrick. Everybody, though, shuffling around through the tunnel turn. The 3 gets a little bit loose on Bowden, and then he's going to look to the outside machine, or on the outside of that number 3 machine. Still double wide, though, for those 2 rows on your screen.
Yeah, 2 by 2 for the 10 and the 3. Then right behind them as well, the 4 and the 99. Or actually, the 4 and the... They get side. Okay, the 4 and the 99 get single file now through that corner there. But the 10 gets a little bit of momentum there on the 3 of Fitzpatrick. Coming to turn number 1. They're still remaining side by side momentarily. Right in front of them, you see the 5 and the 38. Also doing the same thing. The 3 of Bob Fitzpatrick gets a little tight, had a check up there, maybe a little bobble. I couldn't tell exactly from the camera angle, but he had a check up, and now Brock Potter gets around him on the top side, but they're 2 by 2 behind them, so it's going to secure Bob for this position going back to the tunnel turn.
Tunnel turn, always one of the trickiest places here at Pocono. Whoa, big wiggle there out of Adam Bowden. Off turn number 2, also got the 4 of Brock Potter a little loose, along with Bob Fitzpatrick there heading through the tunnel turn. That could have been a huge issue, but they continue to race single file, also double wide there. As you look at the 4 of Brock Potter, he's going to be to the inside now, trying to find a way back in line. Kevin Ruff pushes the number 3 of Fitzpatrick all the way back in front of the 4, as Potter's just going to squeeze in line right in front of Rusty Modsty there in the number 6 machine as they head into 1, with the 5 leading that little group there off 1.
The 45 of Nathan Campbell secures the pass over the 26 of Blake Howell. That is going to be for 4th position here as they go through the tunnel turn once more on lap number 11. The 26 gets a great launch to the center of the corner, but just could not carry the middle on exit as he gets to the back of the 45. He's going to check up the corner a little bit early to see if he can't get a great launch to the corner. Look at that speed out in the center, utilizing the bottom, but comes off corner exit, and that grip there up the exit 3 on the upper lane just carries that speed for the 45. Remains single file down the straightaway.
Campbell, though, continuing to be super fast as you look on board with Blake Howell in the 26. Heading into turn number 1, the 45 of Campbell looked to try to go to the inside of Watkins in the number 23 machine. He ducked back in line. Now he's going to try to do it again off turn number 1. Still, though, in the draft with the 23 of Harold Watkins. Heading now through the tunnel turn. Lays off a little bit. Going to try to give him some space. But they're all chasing after Ryan Bean up there, who's pulled away to a 2.8 second gap as we work around this 2.5 mile triangle coming to lap 13. Only a handful of laps to go, Jeremy, before the end of the stage.
Yeah, he's really testing the limits of his virtual Goodyears, and just like last week, we saw a lot of guys did not have much tire wear and tire fall off as far as lap times are concerned at New Hampshire, and it played dividends for some of these guys. And you know, if it's the same way here tonight, we saw in our broadcast last night, one of our drivers that we were broadcasting said that he experienced basically no tire and his car kept getting better and better. So we'll see how Ryan Bean does. But right now, he has a huge lead, almost 3 seconds. But the number 3 of Bob Fitzpatrick gets a little tight off turn number 1. Kevin Ruff gets to the bumper, does not elect to make the pass there. And they're going to go through the tunnel turn one more time. Everybody still, for the most part, single file.
Bowden, though, still trying to get around Kevin Ruff. Actually, Ruff a little bit loose there out of the tunnel turn. He's able to hang on to that position with the 10 lurking right back behind him, almost on the rear bumper, heading into turn number 3. Oh, it looks like Bob Fitzpatrick has a little bit of an issue up there. He's doing a little bit of blinkage. Have to see if that internet connection stabilizes. Back behind the 10, you saw the 4 Brock Potter look to the outside, wasn't able to do it, but he's got a huge draft leg. Maybe he'll go with Bowden. Bowden down to the inside of Ruff, heading into turn number 1. The outside lane's been so dominant here tonight so far. And that 99 is going to pull away off turn number 1 with Bowden falling back in line into the clutches of the 4 Brock Potter.
Adam and Kevin just for some reason cannot get away from each other here 14 laps into this race. We got 12 laps before we're going to see stage break, so just past halfway on stage number 1. And now the 10 and the 4 are side by side going down the short chute here. Going into turn number 3, the number 6 also of Rusty Modesty. He's picked up a couple spots, and he is starting to move a little bit more forward. And now the 4 is going to try to make a move on the 10, but it does not get clear of him. Has to go back in line with him. Everybody else single file except for, it looks like up front, the 26 is trying to make some moves from some positions inside the top 5.
26 machine goes down into the inside. He arcs the corner a little bit, trying to get away from Potter and Watkins. They battle for position off turn number 1. That is the battle for the 5th position. And that goes to Harold Watkins off turn number 1 with the 34, trying to stay in the draft wake in that Adidas Chevrolet Camaro through the tunnel turn. They all get single file those. They all continue to chase after Ryan Bean. But so far, though, Bean's led every single lap here tonight.
Yeah, 100% here. And while we're watching this race, we're going to shout out to one of our partners here. Of course, the sponsor of the RSR Next Gen Cup Series, Best One Tire and Service. If you're looking for a one-stop automotive repair and tire shop, this place is going to get you covered. They help you get new tires, tire repairs, and auto service you need from the people you can trust. Check them out if they're in your area, or you can go to the website to check to see if they're in your area. You're going to head over to bestonetire.com. And we got a little race still here between the 5 and the 3. That's Matt Hayden and Bob Fitzpatrick. Still just inside this top 10. Seems to be where the most of this racing action is occurring, around this 2.5-mile track. A lot of cars have separated from the top 10. A lot of 2-car packs, 3-car packs, really spaced out. But really inside this top 10 is where we're seeing most of the action so far coming to lap 17.
Everybody's just trying to get every single position, knowing that track position matters a ton. I mean, the only one you could really say, or maybe 2 drivers, is, oh, we actually have our first caution of the night presented by Roasted Gems, and it could be a driver in the back of the field. Not too sure. Maybe Anthony Yuns in the 54 machine. It might look like it. We're going to have to take a look here on the replay.
Yeah, seeing some chatter from a couple of drivers. Can't tell exactly here. See, there it is. The Tesla machine, the number 10, just slams turn 3 wall. Huge. It looks like the engine grenaded. Of course, the hood went flying, and it can't decide if it wants to lay rested or if it's going to jump around like it's a frog. Either way, we're going to take another look here. Going down the short straightaway here. The 82 is in. Oh, and he just, I can't tell from that clip.
Yeah.
Another one, Jason. Either he came down or the 82 came up. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, maybe we can take a look from the drone cam, from that third person look like you would do on NASCAR 2005. But here we go, down into the short chute. I don't know. We might have to rewind it a little bit for just a second. That 10 and 82, it looked like they just kind of ran out of real estate. I don't know if the 82 was trying to side drift, but look at, here's a great thing. The 10 is right on that seam, going straight. He slowly starts to move down, but the 82 comes up to side drift. I don't really think that that's really on anybody, Jeremy. I think that was just hard racing. The 82 there of Stan Carnathan, he was trying to side draft the 10 there down into the corner, and I just think that it was just a side draft going wrong right there. So that's just very unfortunate there. Just hard racing, honestly. We talk about drafting being such a factor, and side drafting and pulling drivers back with dumping air onto that rear spoiler when you get to those quarter panels. It's just so key, and it was a big thing on Sunday. It was a big thing on yesterday's broadcast, obviously, and it's going to be a big thing here all night, and unfortunately, that's just a product of side drafting. Sometimes drivers miscommunicate and obviously just misjudge things, and that's what you have happen.
Yeah, we have the lanes in the track, those seams there, and it really kind of helps us decipher exactly what happened there. And yeah, I concur. The 10's Tesla logo has a little arrow to it, so it kind of shows you exactly where he's pointed at all times. And yeah, I think the 82 moved up, the 10 came down, and it just kind of met up in the same real estate, which even in a virtual car, not allowed to do that. As you see everyone come down, well, maybe. We saw a lot of faking last week, and there is a crap ton more faking as everyone is left, right, trying to see who wants to take their first set of tires, and not many people fell for it. But we got about 5 or 6 coming down, and this is our time to go picture-in-picture mode. We're going to be back before the drop of the green flag. And back to full screen coverage here for the Best One RSR Next Gen Cup Series for the 213 Simware 212. We have a half a lap left before these guys are going to go back to a green flag, and to no surprise, well, they didn't really pit, but the 28 Ryan Bean is going to be starting P1, and he's probably going to own this position up until stage in unless he makes a mistake of his own, because, well, that car is just bad fast right now. Had a 3-second advantage through not even 20 laps in this event. Just doing a killer job right now, but now we got some newcomers here in second place and third place have kind of cycled through the field. Now it's their turn with some fresh air. See what they can't do to try to tackle Ryan Bean's lead. We're going to watch this pace truck make the really sharp corner down to pit entrance for no reason. They could cut out so much earlier, but does it the last second. Waiting for that green flag to fly, and here we go. Ryan Bean with a huge jump over the 2 and the 26, the 45 though of Nathan Campbell. Doing all he can, trying to push the 2 of Zach Strenthal down the front straightaway.
Yeah, Zach Strenthal, he got really loose there right on the start. And he's actually going to go up the track a little bit, almost gets into Blake Cowell. He actually does contact made through turn 1. Wow, they all got through cleanly. That was insane. 3 wide for a moment, almost 4 wide there with Matt Hayden. With the 2 of Strenthal, he was able to save it, but he had massive tire spin there on the start. Drivers continuing to get loose. Oh, more contact there. This is a battle for stage points. The 2 of Strenthal all the way to the bottom, 3 wide. I don't know if this is going to work. Heading through turn 3, they all save it. 2, 3 wide though here at a turn 3.
More contact, and these guys got the Denny Hamlin treatment from turn 1. They go all the way to turn 3, still beating and banging there. Down the end of the front straightaway, try to go. We got more contact here as they're trying to bump draft each other here. That's the 3 of Bob Fitzpatrick. I think he got right into the back of the 34 there of Nolan Potter. Slight contact to the wall. There were 3 wide off corner exit 1 once more. And they're still, it looks like he's trying to make a cut down there. Almost more wrecking here. That's Kevin Ruff on the top. Man, Jason, this is some excellent racing here, shortcoming of the end of the stage.
Well, I tell you what, Jeremy, this has been the most hectic restart I've seen all week, from being there in real life to calling the Martin Sports Truck Series FTSR race on Wednesday, and obviously the Road to Pro iRacing eNASCAR Series. That was interesting, and that was a very interesting restart. One driver out of line gets really loose there. I believe that was Anthony Ludi in the number 8 machine. They're able to save it, though. Other drivers still 2 and almost 3 wide there down the front straightaway. Everybody, though, trying to go for every position, trying to fight for the top 10 here for the end of the stage.
One car with some wall glue up at the very top there. Looks like it's going to be the number 16 of Matt Uprick. He's going to lose a crazy amount of spots, back to about close to 30th there as he gets passed by the 24 and everybody else there. But he stays straight. We're staying green. Still, we're seeing one guy. Ooh, we got more contact. It looks like the number 7 of Harold Rothery ran the top lane in the tunnel turn, which I'm still not used to seeing that. I don't know how people are doing it, but it bit the 7 this time. Nails the wall and corner exit. Little damage to his fender there with these. Oh, we got another car. Looks like the 18 way out of shape. Stephen Baldwin. Excellent save there. Great set of hands. He's going to be able to save it, though. Oh, and now he's going to get split 3 wide. This is getting pretty insane.
Yikes, that was not the smartest move right there by the number 18 of Stephen Baldwin, and thank goodness that nobody else was able to get collected. You saw Matt right there in the number 16. He almost got involved, had to do a huge evasive maneuver down the front straightaway. Everybody, though, still fighting tooth and nail here, despite even being outside the top 10, well back here as we are coming to lap 25. We're going to take a look here at the Nerd TV replay. And just out of 3, look at this re-entry. Just not very smart, honestly, on the 18's part. Not going to lie on that one. Not going to sugarcoat it at all. But a good thing that nobody else was involved in that heading into 1.
Yeah, thankfully so. And the leader, Ryan Bean, just got the white flag for the stage. That 45 of Nathan Campbell has been doing a hell of a job keeping him within 1 second of reach. Won't be able to get to him, per se, before we get to the end of the stage. But the 45 Nathan Campbell, the number 26 of Blake Howell, doing an excellent job, at least maintaining speed on this short run here. We're seeing the 6 on your screen. He is slow on the apron here off
he's
turn
got
number
right side
1.
damage.
Right side damage to that Ford Mustang. Not entirely sure what happened to him.
Yeah, not sure at all, but I tell you what's going to be really interesting and could be a hard battle to the end is that battle for the top 10 right now. Brock Potter holds that spot in the number 4 machine, but Matt Hayden right back.
No.
The 4 makes contact,
How?
moves the 38 to try to be safe in the top 10, and it's going to be a battle 3 wide for the 10th spot coming to the line. Matt Hayden is going to pick up that 10th position. Wow, oh my goodness, from the restart there with only a handful of laps to go. What a finish for this first and only stage break, and that's going to bring out the Roasted Gems Coffee caution flag. Jeremy, I cannot believe what we just saw for about the last 4 to 5 laps.
I don't know how James Catrone didn't wreck the thing. The 4 Brock Potter hooks him in the left rear, and he's 45 degrees through turn 3. I don't know how, but he gets it going straight. I also was trying to look back at the same time. The 6 of Rusty Modesty did an overcorrection and destroys the outside turn 3 exit wall. We're going to see the 38. You can read everything on that side panel there. But very little smoke off the tire. Only loses 2 spots. Comes off exit 3. Crazy driving there from the 38. But man, that was, crazy stage in there.
Yeah, that was very interesting. See, what I want to see is if we can get another third-person drone shot. If the 38 decide to come down on the 4, if the 4 just said, the hell with you, I'm going to drive it into the corner to be safe for the stage and pick up more stage points, because that was a very interesting move. You don't really see that a lot here in stage racing nowadays, but as we look back here at the replay, going to have to rewind it back a little bit. You see the 38 go up the track. Here we go, doing the VCR rewind for you kids out there that don't know what that is. And the 38 just kind of comes down a little bit. The 4 was maintaining his ground, but kind of drifted up. Unfortunately, just a racing deal, really. Nobody at fault, obviously. That was just hard battling for the stage. I'm assuming the 38 wanted to make sure that he was safe. And because of that move, because of coming down, and the 4 getting a little loose there on the bottom, he didn't just lose 1. He lost 2, 3 spots and got no stage points out of that when he was looking to be in shape for 2 or 3.
Yeah, big 10-4 there, and man, these guys getting wound down now and getting set up for the long part of this race, stage number 2. We're going to go once again picture-in-picture mode. Be back before the drop of the green flag. And back to full screen coverage here. We got just under 1 lap left before we're going to kick off stage number 2. And for the first time tonight, well, we got a new leader. And this is going to be a perfect time to kick off our Nerd TV Top 10 recap here to quickly go through the top 10 to see where some of your favorite drivers are running currently inside this top 10. Kevin Zabladil out of nowhere starting 28th. Some strategy calls here. Got himself restarted in this race. P1. Adam Boughton, who was really competitive just inside the top 10. He's going to be restarting in second place. Michael Carter up 4 spots from 7th to 3rd. Blake Howell was your pole sitter, going to be restarting in 4th place. Nathan Campbell, the 45, had to drive his way through the field. He's got a really fast setup underneath him. He's going to be restarting in 5th, up 11 positions. Ryan Bean, the guy you've seen just dominate this race so far, he's going to be starting back in 6th place. Zach Strenthenall going to be starting in 7th. Kevin Ruff is going to be 8th. Bob Fitzpatrick in 9th. And the 10th place car that is actually down 5 spots, that's number 34 of Nolan Potter. Jason, we're going to wait for this pace truck to go down pit road. And we're going to see 2 new guys on this front row. We're going to see how they restart this event.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see here. You know, obviously you have 2 guys stayed out, pitted on lap 18. We're going to have to see how it does, or make that 3 guys, but we're back racing.
Here we go, the 17 with a huge start here over the 10 and everybody else. Dips down early, knows you got to break the draft here at Pocono if you want to try to escape. Drives it off into turn number 1. Is going to utilize the 2nd and 3rd groove early on this restart. It's going to allow the 10 of Adam Boughton to get to him. And actually the 10 carried a crazy amount of speed, able to maintain it down the long 2nd straightaway here. Side drafts him, and he's going to have a nose advantage entering turn 2.
I think the 17 was just a little bit too high on exit, and he's going to easily give that to Adam Boughton in the 10 machine as they work their way out of the tunnel turn. Oh, and contact right there. Michael Carter up and into the wall. Hard contact, saw the puff of smoke. Don't know if there's any damage right there, but Ryan Bean able to get right through. So is Nate Campbell in the 45 as they work 2 and almost 3 wide off turn number 3. Draft effects are in effect here. So obviously everybody trying to fight and claw to be in the draft, but also trying to make some moves as you look at the 3 of Bob Fitzpatrick down on the inside of the racetrack. Nowhere to go as everybody's up on the top of him.
Turn 2 tunnel turn seems to always be the toughest corner here. It's a really quick left-hand flat surface, and it's so easy to overdrive it, get tight on exit, and hit that outside wall, which you saw the 24 Michael Carter do that. He lost 3 positions because of that transaction. But you're seeing Bob trying to make some moves here. The 28 of Ryan Bean actually gets a little loose, and he makes contact on corner exit number 2 on the outside wall there. Just scraped a little paint off that machine. It's going to allow the 24 of Michael Carter and the 99 of Kevin Ruff to go side by side to see who's going to try to tackle that position there. But still a lot of guys side by side on the front stretch.
And down to the inside, the 2 Stealth Motorsports drivers, they're going to hook up and draft together. That's Campbell and Bean. They're going to get around Zabladil in the 17. Now they have their sights set on Howell and Boughton in the 10 machine. As you look at Ryan Bean, the most dominant car here all night. Oh, we got a caution. Oh, no! That might have been the 6, I believe, right there of Rusty Monsty on the inside of the racetrack, running at his own pace. Believe he just lost it off turn number 1. We'll have to take a look at the replay.
Man, yeah, he's 3 laps down, gets through the corner exit, and just loses it on turn number 1. You're going to see on the Nerd TV replay, just out of nowhere, just goes into a slide, drives it to the inside, which is fine. But the fact that his car bounced up technically onto the racing surface as the leaders were all coming to him, iRacing stewards say, hey, I have to throw out this caution. He's on the racing surface. And so that's going to bring out our 3rd caution this evening.
Yeah, that's interesting, too, because a lot of guys have tended to get really loose there out of the corners. I said it on Saturday during the truck race when there was that massive wreck. Also, way beforehand, too, one of the Grays, I believe it was Tanner Gray, got loose off the corner, and he slammed that wall right after where Rusty Monsty hit, right where that opening is for the safety vehicles to exit and enter onto the racetrack. It just seems like a lot of guys there throughout the years, Jeremy, have continuously lost it off the corner. And because of the positioning of that safer barrier, it just seems to be a spot where a lot of guys hit. We saw Justin Haley have a tremendous hit there a few years ago on the Sunday Xfinity Series doubleheader weekend with the Cup cars. So that was interesting. You saw Tanner Gray hit there just on Saturday, a big wreck in the trucks as well earlier or later on in the race. Seems like that is one of the most troublesome spots here on the racetrack.
It really can be. The surface isn't completely smooth, and you're carrying a lot of speed into that corner. And you remember, you have to set up the car for all three corners, right? There's not one corner that's going to be, super good, and the other two are going to be pretty all right. Like, you just have to find a nice, happy medium. And if you try to set up these things to go a little bit faster on the flatter turn 2, turn 3, turn 1 is the oddball with a little more banking. And so the car is not going to handle as well. And so that could be what we're seeing there with the 6 and a couple of these other guys who are either getting loose in turn 3 or turn 1. I haven't seen like too much bobbing and weaving in turn 2, but 1 and 3 have really been, the troublesome corners here tonight.
Yeah, for sure. But, that's the thing, too. You talk about this racetrack having 3 different unique corners. As you look at the 68, Andrew Little into his box. So is a couple other guys, Kane Lee, 27 of Marc Andre. He's into the pits as well. 32, obviously Kane Lee. There's the 20 machine, etc. But all 3 corners are so different. And your car is either really good on one end of the racetrack and it's really bad at the other 2 ends. And you are very lucky if your car handles very well on all 3 corners, like we've seen Ryan Bean's car enter and exit off all 3 of these corners here tonight. So you really have to be on your game. You cannot overestimate these corners because the walls come at you in a hurry. And then obviously the right rear slips up a little bit. And it is very easy to spin out of all 3 of these corners and start some kind of melee or trouble for yourself.
Especially the walls coming up to you in a hurry. If you do get yourself in trouble and have to go down the track, remember before there was a ton of grass you had to work with before you got to the simple guardrail. And now they got the safer barriers right up, buttoned up against the inside part of this track. So if you hit the wall and have to shoot down the track, well, you're going to find another wall in a hurry. So kind of like the like a New Hampshire style or, Martinsville, where there's just walls quickly on both sides, kind of traps you into the track. I want to give a quick shout out to at least one, if not 2 of our partners. Before we go green flag again for the 4th time, this time we're going to go to Admin Box. Is built by iRacers for iRacers to be utilized in league and hosted races. The goal is to make race control as easy as possible for the race admins, either racing or providing race control. Each admin box connects via USB and features pre-programmed commands. No key binding required, which is awesome, for all race control, driver functions, and pit options. It's LED backlit, so it's highly visible in any situation. Check out adminbox.com, and that's with 2 X's, ADMINBOXX.com. And lastly, I'm going to shout out Nerd Swag. We got some things called Shirtitudes, basically our fun nerd shirts. That's going to be in the loop real soon, but you can also pick up mouse pads, cups, some Martin Sports exclusive gloves, and some jerseys. So if you want to support the nerds here and want to look cool and nerdy with us, visit swag.nerditudes.gg. We would greatly appreciate just the visit for sure. Jason, got a half lap left here. Adam Boughton in the 10 is going to be starting in P1.
Yeah, the outside lane has been so dominant here tonight from all the starts and restarts that we've seen here tonight. And obviously, he's the only guy up there right now on about 9 lap older tires, or I should say, or 10 or 11 lap older tires. He last pitted on lap 18. So it's going to be interesting to see if he's going to spin the tires possibly, like the 2 of Zach Schrententhal did earlier on during one of those restarts late in the going, or if he's going to be able to get going. I mean, he does have Ryan Bean behind him, who's been one of the most dominant drivers here all night long. I do expect him to get back to the lead at some point. Maybe Blake Howell or Nate Campbell has something for him here tonight. I mean, Nate is also up there finally, so he's going to be able to challenge his teammate, but he's not going to be on that preferred line. So I think if Nate wants to try and have a shot at Ryan, I think he's going to have to make it 3 wide on Blake Howell and Adam Boughton on this restart.
Fun to find out here. Pace truck makes that sharp dip down pit road, and here we go. We'll see what the 10 has here. Leads him off with a nice settle rolling start here. He's going to carry that really fast 28 Ryan Bean with him on the top side. It's going to drop back to 26 of Blake Howell into third place. We see the 45. Nathan Campbell shifts up to the top now as they go through turn number 1. The 10 has everyone by 2 car lengths. The 26, 28 still remain side by side. And you see even Bob Fitzpatrick, a couple others, Jason, utilizing the 4th groove already in this restart.
It's that time, man. Everybody's trying to fight for every piece of real estate, everything, and battle for the lead right now. Ryan Bean down to the inside of Alvin Boughton. He's going to be able to get him. Oh, a little bit of contact there through the exit of the tunnel turn. That's going to shift him back into the clutches of Howell and also Campbell as Bean goes back to the position that he's been so familiar with all night long as Howell looks to the inside of Boughton off turn number 3, trying to get the run, but that draft's going to be too strong down the front straightaway. Bean tries to break it, while Boughton and Campbell have a huge run on him here down into 1.
Able to get right back to the back bumper of Ryan Bean. Do not make the effort to pass him least time. Everybody riding the 2nd groove. No one fully committed down to the bottom at this time through turn 1. They all make the corner exit. Some contact about 10th place or so. Light contact there. It looks like it was the number 8 once again of Tony Ludi. Second time he's found the wall this evening. Going through the tunnel turn now. A little 2x2 action, almost 3 wide there. At least they try to make it look like it. Oh, we got one car, the number 4, Brock Potter, hard into the inside wall. I mentioned it right before the restart. That wall quickly jumps out at you. And no caution. He keeps it straight, but that looks at least like a required 8-minute repair.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You saw right there, right after he made contact, that left front is about to fall off. The fender, the hood is ready to shred, you could say. Here as he enters the pit road. Going to take a look back at the Nerd TV replay off 4. Oh, the 17 just gets loose, and the 4 has to check up. Not enough time. Gets contact right into the rear bumper of Zabladil there off the tunnel turn. And look at that, the inner wheel is pushed in. It's cambered in a really awkward way, pushed in more. The fender is all coming off. The hood's ready to come off. That's going to be a long, long repair time for the number 4 machine. Take another look. Yeah, 17 just loose. 4 nowhere to go. Unfortunately, makes contact out of the tunnel turn. Tough break right there for the 4 machine of Potter.
Yeah, nothing of his doing caused that. The 17 just got loose and just natural occurrence happened there. The domino effect sends him into the inside wall. Super unfortunate there, and it's gonna at least cost him 8 to 10 laps here getting that thing repaired at minimum, unless he can catch a quick caution here. But these guys, for the most part, are starting to space out. We're seeing some space between the 23 and the car right in front of him, the 38. About 5 to 10 car lengths already. You see it there coming through turn number 1. A lot of single file. Looks like maybe one pass here in effort from the 24 and the 57 as they head off into turn 2.
They're trying their best right now to get around Zabladil. He goes a little bit wide. The 24 almost had the same thing just happen to him as it did to Brock Potter just a lap or 2 ago. That opens up the door for Fine on the inside. He'll get past the 24. Now looking to the inside of Zabladil. Almost makes contact off turn number 3. He's going to be able to clear him just barely off the corner. Slides right in front of that Camaro's nose. And now the 24 trying to go after Zabladil. Side drafting just a tad bit. He'll tuck back in line right now. And Anthony Ludi, Justin Henry, they're right behind them in the clutches trying to look for something to go.
I've been watching this battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It's been pretty good right now. They just, at the moment, go back to single file, but the 45 and 10, it almost made contact for position in turn 3. And then right behind them, the 26 of Howell was quickly to jump on that effort, just could not stick the pass. They go back to single file here. Inside this top 10, it still seems to be where some of the best racing is so far on the track, 40 laps in.
Where on this track's been really interesting to watch here tonight as you look at the 2 machine of Schrententhal looking to the inside of that number 99 of Ruff. He's trying to get something working, but that 3 of Bob Fitzpatrick shoves him all the way down the front straightaway, and Catrone has a huge run right in tow back behind them, actually a little bit in the wall goes the 3 machine. But everywhere on this racetrack tonight, Jeremy, has been very racy. Everywhere from turn 1 on the restarts or green flag runs to the tunnel turn with the multiple grooves, which is unheard of. 2 years ago, you would have never seen that. Hell, you would have seen guys wrecking and causing massive wrecks out of the tunnel turn. But you're seeing guys run the bottom, the middle, almost all the way up into the marbles, practically all the way off the corner. That was unheard of at Pocono more than 2 years ago, but nowadays you see it with the next gen car due to this mechanical grip nowadays. And then turn 3 has been very racy. It usually always is. Every single year guys fight to hold on to their race cars, and it has not disappointed here tonight. Really, the whole racetrack, and everybody's still battling even despite a few laps worn out on these tires.
Yeah, Zach Strenthal, Bob Fitzpatrick, Kevin Ruff, and James Catrone, all 4 really battling for position here. This is for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, and they're running the 3rd lane, the 2nd lane, the bottom lane. Really versatile corner there for a lot of these guys here this evening. But we're about halfway on this race. As soon as they cross lane, we'll be at halfway. So we're going to do what we call turn up the tunes. We're going to listen to all the engines from these next-gen cars going around Pocono Raceway. back to full screen action here. Currently on lap number 47 of scheduled 85. And oh, we got a crash on the front straightaway. Potentially the 23 of Harold Watkins. That is correct. Solo spin. I think he had some contact with the number 5 of Matt Hayden. As we're going to kick this over to the Nerd TV replay momentarily. The 2 cars involved in this one to bring up tonight's 4th caution presented by Roasted Gems Coffee.
Talk about timing. Right when we get back from turn up the Tudes, an incident happens, and that was awkward. Right down the front straightaway. You don't really see this in the 5 of Matt Hayden. Again, just a side draft gone wrong. Comes right up to side draft the 23. Again, might have to take a look from the third-person camera, and I thought that was a hard hit for the 23. Turns out it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. So good on the 23 for not having a terrible hit. But here we go. Side drafting down the straightaway. Yeah, it just comes right up, unfortunately. Just the side draft misjudgment down the front straightaway there. And that 5 machine just backs it down right away. Tough break there for Harold Watkins. And unfortunately for the 5 machine, just a misjudgment.
You got to be thinking the 23 was like, what in the just happened to me? I was going down straight in the middle of a really long straightaway and just get hooked in the left rear. I mean, you got to try what you can sometimes to get the advantage on the guy. If you get close enough, that side draft not only propels your car forward, it also takes the air off the car that you're trying to pass and slows him down. So it gives you that great launch, but at the cost of what here? It cost the 23 some nose damage to get that thing repaired. He's going to lose all those spots that he had on the track, going to be well outside the top 20. And yeah, tough break there by the 23 for sure.
Oh, yeah, now no doubt about it. And obviously now it's kind of getting to that point where you're getting to grind for all these positions that you have out on the racetrack. We're now more than halfway through this race as we're on lap 48 coming to complete it this time by. And Ryan Bean has been dominant all night long. And all these guys are just fighting and clawing for every position out on the racetrack. And unfortunately, side drafting is one of the things you have to do on this racetrack if you want to try to make a pass, especially down on the bottom, because that train up on the top when everybody's lined up in the draft, and then even going through the corner, side drafting has been such a big factor here tonight. And unfortunately, we've seen a couple incidents where it's gone wrong, but here we go. Pit stops are open, and Boughton is going to stay out in the 10 machine. A few other guys as well going to try to stay out, and I cannot believe that Adam Boughton is still staying out despite only pitting on lap 18. He might be trying to do just another one stop and go all the way to the end and try to have some tires on it for the end of this one. So this is very, very interesting call out of the 10 machine, and also a couple other guys as well, but everybody's down to their pit boxes.
Ryan has been in the lead this entire time for the most part, and now it's going to belong to the number 10. You saw pit road getting super busy. Almost everyone coming down taking 4 fresh sets of virtual Goodyears. And remember, they only have 2 sets of tires behind the wall at stage break. I think a lot of these guys did that the first time, so this could be the last set of tires for a majority of these cars in tonight's track for the Pocono Raceway event and presented by 213 somewhere. But yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting strategy call, Jason. The 10 elects to not take tires, quite a few behind them. Hendry, Upbrook, Baldwin, not taking tires. They're going to save it for a little bit later on. They see the trend having 4 cautions. We got just under halfway to go in this event, and they're banking on at least 1 more caution, I would imagine, before they get their final set.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously this race, besides the set that you do start the race on, 2 sets of tires back behind the wall. So the 10, the 85, the 16, the 18, only guys on the track right now who still have 1 set behind the pit road wall in their boxes. So they're still trying to make this another 1 stop more race all the way to the finish. And they must think to themselves, Jeremy, that tires are going to be key here. At the end of this race, we obviously saw a restart where a couple guys were on older tires for about 11 or 10 lap older tires, and they fell back pretty quickly, especially the 17 machine of Kevin Zabladil. He fell back a ton, and he's actually all the way back in 27th now after getting loose quite a few times. So if you're the 10, 85, and the 16, especially the 18 machine as well, you must be thinking that tires are going to be key here at the end of this race. At least that's what I would be thinking if I were those drivers.
Yeah, 100% there. And just a quick mention, the number 5, Matt Hayden, does get put to the end of the longest line. If you're new to either watching RSR or just being a part of the league in general, they send the person at fault to the rear of the field. So they're going to find the number 5, Matt Hayden, going to be restarting all the way back somewhere around mid 20th position. But it's going to bring the number 10, P1 here, Justin Hendry, who is up 19 positions from 21st up to 2nd on this start, getting himself some spots, virtue of staying out. Going to be kind of curious to see what he can do with some fresh air.
I just want to say real quick, you actually mentioned a great thing. Obviously, the 5 just of Matt Hayden, just unfortunately a side draft gone bad. But for the folks not watching, obviously NASCAR does not do that. But when you go to a local short track in your area, like for example with me over at Wall Stadium, that is a common thing that happens. Usually the driver who causes an incident gets sent to the rear of the field with the driver who was involved or primarily caused the yellow flag. So interesting over here that the RSR boys do that. And obviously that makes it all the much better because if let's say you're a guy, just for example, if the 10 wanted to purposely wreck the 85 to get a late race yellow, unfortunately that's going to send the 10 to the back. He might be trying to get a yellow, but if he wrecks him on purpose, he goes to the back. So it's nice to see that these guys do implement that rule. But coming to the restart here, I just don't know if tires are going to be a big factor here. Probably going to be those. They're coming to the restart zone.
Yeah, these low-profile tires seem to not wear as bad because it's a much wider tire base and doesn't cause as much wear, right, when you got more traction or more rubber on the track at one particular time. But going through turn 1 here, the 10's got the preferred lane through the second groove here, is going to able to clear the 85. Looks like a Justin Hendry, no problem. Little blinker on the bottom there. That's going to be the number 16 there. I think momentarily he's going to be fine, but he's not going to be under contest from Stephen Baldwin on the top going through the tunnel turn.
Through the tunnel turn they go. Baldwin and Upbrook almost make contact. They get loose out of the corner. That opens up the door for Kevin Ruff. Gives a little bit of a bump draft to Stephen Baldwin down into turn number 3. And they obviously have fresh tires. The only one out front who has not fresh tires would be Bowden. And there's a lot of contact, a little bit of looseness going on throughout the field. The 16 of Upbrook almost lost it off turn number 3, but everybody gets back single file, a little bit of double wide coming down into turn number 1. You look at the 45 Campbell, he'll go to the inside of the 26 of Howell as the 16 continues to try to save that loose race car out of 1.
There is a lot of cars all over the place right now, from the turn 2 last lap all the way up to almost turn 2 this time here. Quite a few cars just ill handling right now, whether it just being a little bit older tires trying to serve. The 99 of Kevin Ruff deep into the outside turn 2 exit wall. That's a large impact there. He's going to get passed by Bob Fitzpatrick. Probably no problem here. And we got the 28 of Ryan Bean and the 38 of James Catrone making a little door contact on corner X as they're catching up to the 99 and the 3.
38 and the 28 are going to have a massive run here on the 3. The 38 ducks out of line. Side draft textbook move by the 38 of James Catrone down into turn number 1. He'll try to bring along Ryan Bean right behind them. They're double wide. That's the 3 and the 38 out of turn number 1. 3 gets a little bit loose, but due to that draft wake, the outside is going to be really dominant, and it looks like Ryan Bean might be able to get to the outside of Catrone down into the tunnel turn. We'll see who takes the spot here out of 2.
28 backs the corner up, trying to get that exit there, and here he goes. But Bob Fitzpatrick makes contact with James Catrone. He almost puts a block on Ryan Bean. Ryan has to lift. They stay 2 wide here, but the 28 Ryan Bean had an excellent attempt there, backing up the tunnel turn, getting that great launch out of exit, and just by circumstance had a lift. You see another car, and I think it was 26 there bouncing off the wall. That was Blake Howell off of turn 3, but here goes Ryan Bean back to the inside.
Bean is driving like a bat out of hell, trying to get back to the position he's known all night long. He'll go back to the inside of Catrone off turn number 1. Going to be held up by the 3 of Fitzpatrick. That's going to enable the 38 to be in the draft wake of Baldwin. They'll bump draft down the back straightaway with Bean moving to the outside of Fitzpatrick. Now, Crossover move by Catrone. He'll go down to the bottom of the racetrack, almost 3 wide going through the tunnel turn. They're 2 wide, 2 by 2 by 2, heading into 3.
Just a crazy amount of racing here on lap 54 of scheduled 85, so almost 30 laps to go. The 28, Ryan Bean, maybe looking to go 3 wide, doesn't make that attempt here. Bob Fitzpatrick almost gets to the back of Ryan Bean, as Bob's going to lose the spot to the 45 now of Nathan Campbell. They go single file as the 3 quickly merges right behind the 45. And this racing, Jason, right now, this is what I've become used to at Pocono as of late. You see the 18 here running that 3rd and 4th groove. I still can't get over how fast that outside lane is in turn 1. Everyone trying to utilize different lanes around this track, and it's all equaling the same lap times, which is causing excellent racing for you guys watching tonight.
This racing has been absolutely insane all night long, and for my first next-gen race here calling at Pocono, it has not disappointed, and we're not even done with this race as we're just shy of 30 laps to go. This time by, it will be. Battle for the lead, though, starting to shape up. Boughton and Henry will take the top spot. They're side by side at a turn number 3. Still side by side, and Henry will take the point now in that number 85 machine with lap 27 tires, and everybody else behind Boughton is just lap 48 tires. So the old tires, looking down into turn number 1. That's the 3 of Fitzpatrick, and to the outside, Nolan Potter. Big contact down the front straightaway. That looked like something out of the old Gen 4 cars, where cars would get hooked up, and unfortunately that was a product right there. And here comes Brian Fine. He'll open up the door for himself, heading through the tunnel turn. Lots of guys fighting for position. 1 car below the apron out of the corner. That was Brian Fine, I believe. Or no, it was Anthony Ludi possibly out of the corner. Everybody, though, everywhere on this racetrack.
Man, this race is just absolutely nuts right now in this part of the race. You called the action where Hendry passed Boughton for the race lead, and then right after that, the 18 of Stephen Baldwin gets bad loose off corner 3. They go 3 wide. Bob Fitzpatrick on the radio comes up and says, "Woo!" because he knew that was a hell of a save there. Going 2-3 wide for that next lap, but now these guys have temporarily gone single file, but I would not count this to happen too much longer because these guys are still looking really racy here. Just under 30 laps to go now.
And now that a majority of those guys up at the front of the field, especially in the top 5, they've gotten single file, they've been able to close in on those 2 drivers with much, much older tires, Justin Henry and Adam Boughton in the number 10 machine. So you see them right now falling into the clutches of James Catrone in the 38. Also Ryan Bean. Oh, God! Boughton all the way to the inside. Looks like he got loose, might have hit the wall. Stacked them up big time at a turn number 3. James Catrone goes to P2 with Ryan Bean falling into the podium position now. Brings along his teammate Nathan Campbell in the 45. Man, that was a very interesting moment off turn number 3. We might have to get a replay on that one as they continue to battle for the lead down the back straightaway with Catrone going to the inside of Henry heading down to the tunnel turn.
Catrone trying to get himself a lap lead this evening going through the tunnel turn. That's now completely covered by a huge cloud here as we are going to that Nerd TV replay. We're going to see the 10 here gets really loose, locks up the tires momentarily, and able to save it, but that's going to cost him 3 positions. He lets them all by, goes back up to the top of the track, and kind of gets that car reset for the remainder of this race. But that was a huge moment from Adam Boughton to able to save it. As we're going to get one more angle of it there, you saw how loose and sideways that car was. Excellent driving there by Adam.
Yeah, and also excellent driving by Ryan Bean, the man on a mission, back up to the front of the field, gotten around James Catrone in the 38, but Catrone will not let down. He's right on the rear bumper of Bean down the back straightaway. Both of them got loose, and Nate Campbell looking to try to make a pass here, waiting in the wings in case these two just in fact happen to battle. Ryan Bean has been so strong all night long, 38 loose at a turn number 2. I just don't know, Jeremy, if anybody's going to have anything here for Ryan Bean now that he's out front controlling this lead.
The 10 of Adam Boughton coming down pit road this time, calling his pit entrance, knowing his tires are completely shot. And remember, the 28 here of Ryan Bean is the first guy on the 4 fresh set of virtual Goodyears So after he gets around these guys, which he has now, he should be setting sail. But the 45 of Nathan Campbell also on a set of Goodyear tires as well. He just now gets around the 38 of James Catrone for second place. So the 45 and the 28 look like, or the 38 rather, yeah, 45 and 28. They're going to be setting themselves up for a really good race here, coming to 25 laps to go.
And this is the big question, Jeremy's. Nate Campbell has been pretty much the only one who has been relatively as fast as his teammate Ryan Bean. So now that he's moved into P2, maybe now if this race does go all the way to the end, we could see Nate Campbell try to close in now that he's gotten by the 38 machine. Obviously, Ryan Bean, fastest car on the racetrack for the entire race, running a 53.479 with the fastest lap time of the race. That last time around, Nate Campbell was a little bit faster than his teammate by just about 500ths of a second, and closing that gap oh so slowly as they work their way out of turn number one. Nate Campbell might have something here for his teammate here in the later stages of this race.
Nate Campbell is able to keep up with Ryan Bean going down the straightaway as we see the battle on track here presented by Butt Kicker. Right now that separation just 0.3 of a second. Catrone there a half a second back of Campbell, and then Hendry, Fine, and Howell going to round out that top six there. As he sixth place is kind of cycling through between a couple of drivers right now. Now belongs to Zach and that 2 machine, but lose a little bit of time there. Ryan Bean with an excellent turn 3 advantage now down the long straightaway.
Yeah, Ryan Bean had a great exit off turn number 3, and that really seems to be his strong suit, is the exit of turn number 3. That car just starts to pull down the straightaways, but Nate Campbell still, though, right off turn number 1, that's been probably his best part of the racetrack. You see Ryan Bean trying to do a little bit of snakeage off turn number 1, went from the middle lane back to the top now, and Nate Campbell able to gain more than a tenth and a half down out of turn 1, down the back straightaway, but he's still even right now with Ryan Bean, with the gap being 0.35 seconds right now. Just 0.4 now separates the 2 leaders.
As the 45 is really trying everything he can to stay within the draft of Ryan Bean. He knows if he loses that, that's all she wrote for him. Trying to stay behind. You see him snaking a little bit down the straightaway. We have not seen too much of that in comparison to Sunday and Monday from our perspectives anyways. Good battle on track right now, just outside the top 10. This is going to be the 32 of Kane Lee, who pushes the 16 of Upbrook up the track a little bit. The 17 of Kevin Zabadil going to follow right behind the 32 momentarily, but these guys are almost 3 wide entering turn 1.
Kane Lee and Matt Upbrook did a very good job not making any more contact than they needed to. So heads up to them as, oh no, one car in the wall right there off the corner. It looked to be Upbrook. It might have been Michael Carter. Not too sure there. It was, I think, the 16 machine of Matt Upbrook off turn number 2. Hard impact into the wall. A little bit of damage there, and he will be coming this time by one of those cars, Jeremy, who pitted last on lap 27. So this is going to be his last stop of the night, putting on that last set of Goodyear Eagles.
Yeah, he had a large tail slap there on the exit of turn 2, which we've seen about 5 cars now fall victim to that exit corner. As we're coming off turn number 1 here, still focusing on that battle just now inside the top 10, focused on Blake Howell's car there, that 26, kicking it back to the 32 and the 8. Tony Ludi on the outside now of the 32. And they're going to go back to single file there as we're on approaching lap 85. So we're going to be at 20 laps to go here real shortly.
Yeah, 22 right now up on the scoring pylon there. Here for the 213 Simware 212 at the Pocono Raceway. Everybody's still trying to fight and claw for every position. As you look at the 32, Kane Lee, and the 17 of Zabladil, they're going to go side by side right now, all trying to pass Anthony Ludi down into turn number 1. Zabladil has the momentum into the corner, but it looks like Lee might be able to get the advantage off the corner. Ludi to the inside of Ruff off turn number 1. So both drivers have somewhat of a draft wake here as they head down to the tunnel turn this time by.
2x2, this battle on the track is the strongest one so far. And these guys are just trying to do everything they can, and they're trying to get that bonus point. Remember, top 10 get that extra point there for being technically a stage there. So everything they can do to get that happen, they're going to try here. Going back to say almost some contact there from Tony Ludi and the 32 of Kane Lee. They keep it going straight. Now the 17 of Kevin Zabadil is going to give the 32 a great launch off corner exit. That's going to allow Kane Lee to get to the inside now of Kevin Ruff entering turn 1.
Lee to the inside of Ruff entering turn number 1, but the outside lane lined up currently with Zabadil right behind the 99 machine off turn number 1. They're going to have a draft wake down this long back straightaway, which they call the Long Pond straightaway. Lee loses 1, almost 2 positions now as the 8 machine looks up to the outside. Anthony Ludi trying to get the run here through the tunnel turn, but he's still side by side with Lee as Andrew Little right behind them waits in the wings in case something happens.
This is for basically 10th place on the track, and this race is not letting up between these 4 cars and really the 5 here, as we're starting to see the 3 of Bob Fitzpatrick come into hammer here, or at least actually that's the 68 of Andrew Little. He's coming into the picture here as these guys are just getting super racy. The 85 coming down pit road to get the service of his crew. I think this is a scheduled green flag stop as we got just under 20 laps to go, and he's one of the first leaders to come down pit road.
One of the first leaders taking on that last set of Goodyear Eagles, last pitted on lap 27. And obviously, if the caution were to come out, that would make him look like a very, very smart man, saving those tires all the way to the end, which a caution can still happen. We've seen it here all throughout the week when in both official racing and also league racing and obviously real life. Cautions happen on every single part of this racetrack, and they can happen at any moment, anytime, anywhere. Ryan Bean pulled out to 0.6 of a second over his teammate Nate Campbell, so I'm assuming Nate would love to see a yellow flag right now, but obviously time's still ticking away, 18 laps to go. Good battle right here for third between Catrone, Fine, and Schrittenthal in the number 2 machine. As Schrittenthal looks up to the outside. Oh, contact! Just as I say that, the 38 goes around. He's able to save it. Hard impact into the wall. Comes back. But due to him straightening out, that will not be a caution. But the toe definitely knocked out of the 38 machine. He is slow down the Long Pond straightaway, entering the tunnel turn.
Car still looks like it's broken there, trying to hold on to it. Cars, Kevin Ruff has to make an evasive maneuver to get around on the outside, and that was your battle for third place. James Control just hits the wall hard. He's got to be coming down to the service of crew this time. That car is running real slow. As we're going to go to the Nerd TV replay to take a look exactly what happened. Just gets loose, wobbles it, and just no help. Just got loose, and he got down. If you notice, too, he was straight until he hit that...
the bump, yeah.
I don't know why there's a ramp down there. You think they would have paved that a little flatter, but it really upset his next-gen car, threw him to the inside, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah, and obviously these things, with how low these cars are to the ground, that definitely can hurt the suspension of these race cars. They have a cover on those suspensions down the bottom, but because of these things and how fragile they are with the suspensions, it is very easy to get a lot of damage. But he did not come into the pits. He's still out on the racetrack. He's fallen all the way back to, let's see, 15th now as he gets passed by Baldwin to the inside into turn number 3. And that also opens up the door for James Catrone behind him with a massive pack back behind the 38. So these guys are going to have to be aware, and they're going to have to be careful as they get around the 38.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that there was no pit stop there from the 38. And I'm kind of listening to the team chatters right now, and they're all saying, I would love a yellow right now. That tells me a lot of guys are just not feeling comfortable with their cars right now, as we got 16 laps to go in this event. So you got to come down pit road, it looks like, for at least one stop here, unless the 45 just, or the 45 just come down pit road for whatever reason there. But needless to say, I'm seeing a lot of cars, Jason, sideways. 99 of Kevin Ruff, he is on the radio. He's one of the advocates saying, we need a yellow. My car's not feeling well. He got really loose through the tunnel turn exit here. coming off turn number 3 with that added grip in that upper half of the track. Able to keep him stable this time, but a lot of guys really need that yellow.
Tell you what, right now, as we look back to the action here on the racetrack, Nate Campbell might not want a yellow right now. Something is of a miss on the Ryan Bean machine. That rhymed right there. Down the back straightaway, Nate Campbell is all over the back bumper of his teammate. He'll look down to the inside of the tunnel turn, backs off a little bit. Ryan Bean had a 6, almost 7/10 of a second gap, and they make contact into the wall. Goes Campbell. Ryan Bean got loose out of the tunnel turn, causing Campbell to just brush the wall barely. Ryan Bean had a 7/10 of a second gap at one point, and then all of a sudden, while we were talking about the 99, that gap just diminished in the snap of a finger right there off the corner. And Ryan Bean is now falling into the clutches of his teammate. Now the question begins to be, will Campbell have enough tire to pass Ryan Bean? It might look like that. He'll look to the outside out of turn number 1.
Trying to utilize that 4th lane grip up top there. Did not get the run he wanted. He came up onto that 4th groove a little bit later than maybe he would have liked to, and he lost a 10th or so to Ryan Bean going through the tunnel turn this time, under pressure by Upbrick, a lap down car at this point, but he does back off before the corner entrance there. But now the 45 Nathan Campbell has to regroup and find that speed once more to get to Ryan Bean.
That 45 machine was really fast on Sunday with Tyler Reddick behind the wheel. Also Saturday, and Nate Campbell looking to continue that tradition in the 45 Toyota Camry. Currently still trying to obviously catch his teammate. They are actually really, really slow compared to the rest of the field. Brian Fine and Zach Schrittenthal nearly 2/10, if not almost 3/10 faster than the 2 leaders. So if they tangle, get side by side, Brian Fine could be in a very fine position, no pun intended, if this race were to end up continuing to be the way it was. Nate Campbell, though, to the race lead going into the tunnel turn here as Ryan Bean backs off. He'll give the top spot to his teammate here out of turn number 2 as they're both loose heading down into turn 2 and now into 3.
Had a great launch down on the exit of turn number 1. You see it on the new TV replay, the pass for the race lead, and just makes quick work. And I mean real quick work of Ryan Bean there. Getting to turn number 3, and he is setting sail now. Instantly gets himself a 2-car length advantage. Still pulling on Ryan, even with the draft assist here between him and Upbrook, right behind the 28th. Then get finally to turn number 1. Still maintains about 1-car length advantage, and the 45 is going to elect to take the 2nd groove through the corner, and just has such a better exit. That 45 is doing so much better than the 28 right now in turn 1.
And Ryan Bean has to lock in, okay? That's the deal. Ryan Bean has to lock in. He knows his teammate's been faster than him here about the last 10 to 12 laps or so. And now, funny enough, we have 12 laps to go. So Ryan Bean has to do exactly what his teammate did as he just sits right behind him. He was the fastest car on this racetrack earlier today with the fastest lap time. But last time around, Ryan Bean was 5/10 of a second slower than his teammate. And down this straightaway now, he's got a huge draft. Like, question B, will he do anything with it? Down into turn 1, the 28 will lay off just a little bit to try to get that better exit speed. He'll look down to the inside of the racetrack. We'll see if Ryan Bean has anything for him here down the backstretch.
Matt Upbrook, this white car right behind these two here. He is the first car 1 lap down, and he's trying to manually get his lap back here on off corner exit 3. He door slaps the wall hard. Able to still kind of maintain pace with these 2 race leaders, though, trying to keep himself in position, but he's starting to fall back there through turn 2. And I think that wall slap really did his car in. But yeah, the 45 is still excelling through turn 1, slightly better in turn 2, but turn 3, I feel like Ryan Bean is like, as long as he can hit his marks, I think he's got a great chance to get a great launch off 3 and to maybe set himself for a pass entering 1.
Yeah, now with 10 laps to go, these guys are going to battle like they're not even teammates. They'll give each other a little extra space, but they're not going to give much more than that. And the thing about the 16 machine, too, is him being a lap down, he's on that strategy. He's got his second set, so there's a caution that comes out. He's going to be able to, get his lap back. And he wants to be able to not have to do that. He wants to be able to just pass them and not have to get that lucky dog to where he's behind those guys. So he's racing to get back on the lead lap. He doesn't want to just sit and ride around. But sure enough, he also doesn't want to get in the way of these two battling. And they've been having one hell of a battle now as Schrittenthal makes the pass on fine for the third spot back behind the two leaders. But Ryan Bean continuing to try and pass his teammate. He's still right there, right in the wings. I believe they might be side by side down the front straightaway, but now they're back single file. Campbell still being able to take the advantage over Bean in the one.
You saw a battle there for third and fourth there where Schrittenthal and Fine, and they go single file, but this race lead has just been under fire. The 28 got a little wiggle on turn 3 exit, trying everything he can to carry his speed. Does a much better through 1 that time. Carries the same momentum as the 45 and Nathan Campbell does. Turn 2, on the other hand, the 16 and the 28 both simultaneously kick a little sideways. He gives the 45 a little more comfort. Entering turn number 3, 45 running a little bit higher through corner, entrance, and exit this time. Going to carry that excess speed. But the 28, though, he's in the wake. Does he move to the bottom? The option is there. He is looking. But he looks like he's going to back it up and try it again in the next lap.
Yeah, and he's really just trying to make the perfect opportunity to pass him. The 45 drifts up a little bit, and he's actually a little bit loose, but so is Bean. And if you're Bean right now, you don't want to make the wrong move at the wrong time, because next thing you know, you could slip up and lose all that ground that you made back to your teammate, despite him being so fast. So Ryan Bean has to be very, very careful at when he makes his move. And they're both in the wall off turn number 2 there. The 45-28 both slap the wall a little bit. No harm, no foul, though. But the 45, he gets a little bit tight entering turn number 3. This opens up the door for Bean. They're side by side, back to single file with the 28 all over the back bumper of the 45. 7 laps to go here in Long Pond, Pennsylvania.
Ryan's going to carry Nathan into turn 1. Let's see how deep he shoves him into the corner. Finally releases him. No pressure, though. Nathan Campbell able to maintain the second groove through turn number 1. And then the moment you said, Jason, he has to be careful. That's where Ryan hit the wall, but it does not look like it's messed up the performance on his car, at least for the next 2 corners. Gets right to the back bumper once more of Nathan Campbell. This is on lap 79. We have 6.5 laps to go in this event here, presented by 213 Simware. And the 28 and the 45 put on a hell of a show for you guys for the closing of this race.
I tell you what, as much of a Ryan Blaney fan as I am, unbiasedly, this has reminded me a lot of Ryan Blaney and Kevin Harvick's battle back in 2017, where it was who's going to make the pass, who's going to snake. As you see him right there, Nate Campbell does exactly that down the straightaway with Ryan Bean following in tow, continuing to close in down the straightaways. And funny enough, Kevin Harvick driving a Mobile 1 scheme that very day, and he was running second. He finished second, and the 45 continuing to lead over his teammate with the 28 getting a little bit better exit down the back straightaway. Will Ryan Bean look anywhere other than behind his teammate? He'll stay in line, though, heading into the tunnel turn this time by with 5.5 laps to go.
22 consecutive viewers across all 3 platforms. Appreciate you guys tuning in. The 28 of Ryan Bean gets a little loose this time off corner exit number 2. Let's go out another gap here, about 3 car lengths for the 45 as they go through turn number 3. And everybody else on the track, for the most part, have really spaced out. This is why we're staying tuned into this race lead, other than Bob Fitzpatrick getting passed now by the 4. Coming through turns 3 here. This is the 3, 4, and 5 consecutively here, but Bob Fitzpatrick running a lot higher than the other guys here, but able to carry that speed, the momentum that he needs off the corner exit. Pretty good racing outside the top 10 still.
Matt Hayden is going to push that other machine right there on the bottom, right past Bob Fitzpatrick up on the outside as they enter into turn 1. The 4 machine gets a little bit loose entering turn 1. That's going to enable Fitzpatrick to almost hit the wall there off turn number 1, but they're double wide down the back straightaway with the 5 staying right behind Brock Potter, and the number 4 machine trying to look for a way around the number 3. That's for position. The 4 is 9 laps down, currently in the way a little bit, but trying to aid some of these drivers as the 3 got really loose out of the tunnel turn. Hayden will go down to the bottom of the racetrack. They'll be side by side, almost contact being made here on the center of turn number 3 and back down the front straightaway. Everybody fighting and clawing for position as back at the front, Ryan Bean has caught his teammate yet again, and he is on the rear bumper heading down into the tunnel turn.
And if you're the number 3 of Fitzpatrick, or maybe even the 5 there, Matt Hayden, you got to be frustrated with the 4 being multiple laps down, racing with you guys for that same position. But you're seeing a mistake there from the 45 of Campbell. It's going to allow the door to open up on the inside lane there for Ryan. Dead heat entering the corner number 3. Almost clears the 45, but the 45 does get loose, and that will allow Ryan Bean to momentarily take the lead back. 3 laps to go.
It's all product of the 45 trying to be able to make sure that he can maintain that gap on his teammate. Off turn number 2, put a little bit too much pedal to the metal off the corner, got loose, and ultimately led to Ryan Bean getting back by his teammate. Now, if you're Nate Campbell, all you're trying to do is be calm, cool, and consistent. The 3 C's, he's got 0.25 seconds between him and his teammate as they work their way down the long pond straightaway into the tunnel turn, coming to 2 laps to go.
Ryan played it very patiently and allowed the 45 to make 1 mistake, and that's all it took. And now Ryan's got a 2-car length advantage over the 45 of Nathan Campbell here. As these guys, just to give you guys a quick fact check, have a 5-second lead over 3rd place here. BC Ryan playing the snake game down the very long front straightaway here, trying to break any draft what he can. The 45. Oh, we got a wreck in the back here. It's going to bring out the fifth caution. Yes way with 2 laps to go. And that's going to involve the 32 of Kane Lee. Comes off turn number 3, makes contact with the 34's nose and sends him down pit road. And you see him going backwards. I don't think iRacing stewards are going to like that one.
I don't really think the league admins are going to be too pleased with that one. And Kane Lee is all. I don't know what happened to Kane Lee. Yeah, I think that actually just resulted in a DNF right there, possibly because he was going backwards. And that's ultimately what happened. You see the 32 gets turned right there. Oh, clips the barrels right there. We've seen in years past where a lot of guys tend to get loose there off the corner and hit the pit road wall. Unfortunately, that's what happened to the 32, but maybe a little bit of contact there. Going to take a look back. You see right here off the corner, that's the 34 machine of Potter looking to the inside. They're drifting up the racetrack. 32's already starting to get loose, and because he's already starting to get loose, Jeremy, the car kind of just stalls out in one lane, and the 34 was still drifting up the racetrack, causing him to make contact, get into the left rear of that 2016 Denny Hamlin throwback number 32 machine. And that car ultimately went spinning, just a product of 2 guys getting loose and fighting hard for position here towards the end of the race.
This is on board the 34 of Nolan Potter here, going to slow motion here as Dustin's got the best camera angles once again. And yeah, the 32 is just sideways, lifting, maybe touching the brake, and the 34 carrying all that momentum, had nowhere to go, could not get it wood up enough. Sends the 32 into the water barrels, and then that's going to be the end of the 32 of Kane Lee's night when he did go backwards around the track. It gave him a black flag for sure. I think the admins try to assist him with the black flag scenario, but I don't think that's going to be enough for him to get back into the racing action. But this, Jason, is going to set up a huge restart here. I think they have two green-white checkered attempts. This is the official first one. And the long run obviously belongs to the 28, but now going back, get these tires cooled off. Short run time, does the 45 have what it takes? And they're coming down. They're going to fake me out a little bit.
Yeah, he's just going to fake him out. Okay. That's just Ryan Bean. Ryan Bean's a total faker. So if he does win tonight, I'm just going to call him a faker and that it was a fake win. But other guys, though, coming into the pits this time by, I don't know if it's probably for adjustments. I mean, they don't have any more tires sitting behind the pit road wall, so it's probably for some fuel. maybe to make the thing just a little bit looser, possibly. Also, maybe to take a few more adjustments, maybe add some tape, possibly take off a windshield tear off. Unfortunately, but that's in the back of the pack. But now the question is, who's going to get the better restart? Obviously, Ryan Bean's going to be having his lane of choice, I believe. So he's probably going to choose the outside lane. If not, Nathan Campbell's going to be up on his outside. These two are teammates. They're going to have to race respect. But we saw on Sunday, 2 years in a row now, we've seen a guy not give a lot of room off the corner. Denny Hamlin ran the corner really hard in. Unfortunately, arguably, it looked like there was contact, maybe not, possibly just depending on air, but it looked like it. And unfortunately sent the 5 into the wall, left him a lane, but the 5 stayed in the gas, ultimately ended up in the wall. Something we could see here, Jeremy. And obviously, too, other guys behind them, Kevin Zabladil, Brian Fine right back behind there. They've been very consistent. They've been faster than these guys up at the front of the field with those two battling. So this really is anybody's race here when they do come to the green flag for overtime.
Now I was watching the pit road, and 34 was the first car, Nolan Potter, to come down pit road. He gave up, I think, 8th place at that time. And I saw a lot of cars get jacked up on the left and right side. So this is going to be 4 fresh set of Goodyears for quite a bit of people. The 34, the 23, I think the 99, and quite a few others. So might be a really fun restart to see how quickly these guys that are going to be back in 15th or so are going to work their way through the field that has much older set of Goodyear tires at this point. But I want to give a quick shout out to one of our partners before we get to the checkered flag this evening. This time it's going to be the guys that we love oh so dearly, Martin Sports. Small company with the big time product, home of the sim gloves and sim racing. Make the most breathable and durable gloves the sim world has ever seen, and they also specialize in fully customized sublimation printing from everything from team uniforms, t-shirts, hoodies, and they also do custom embroidery on hats, which all their stuff that they do, it allows for the fastest turnaround in the business. See their full apparel lineup at martinsports906.com or martinsports.gg. Either way, got that green code up there on the top. Promo code SUPERNERD. Going to save you 25% off anything you purchase from there from Martin Sports. And I'm going to do a quick shout out to our schedule before we see the green flag. Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. You see that they're on the lower half of your screen. RSR Next Gen Cup Series tonight, and we kick it back Wednesday, tomorrow night, for the Martin Sports Truck Series over at Full Throttle Stem Racing. And Jason, half a lap left here. What are your favorites here on this restart?
I really like Ryan Bean, but Nathan Campbell's going to be up on the top lane. The question's going to be is, will he get a good enough restart with Kevin Zabladil on his outside right back behind him to project himself in front of the 28 machine? The outside's been so dominant on the restarts, and now with a little bit of cloud cover, there's going to be a little bit more grip possibly on the inside, so maybe there could be a challenge here on the inside lane coming to the restart. But this is still anybody's game. I expect absolute chaos or a bleep show possibly here as they come into the Geico restart zone.
And here we go, 85 on the track surface. It is much cooler than the start of this race, but the 28 of Ryan Bean gets that great restart that he ever so needed. Able to shift up in front of the 45 of Nathan Campbell here, getting to turn number 1. Right now they are side by side. That's the 17 and the 57. Brian Fine and Kevin Zabladil off corner exit here, still remain side by side. Oh, they got a wreck in the back. It looks like maybe the 3 of Fitzpatrick potentially. There's a couple cars way in the back there, right off corner exit. And that's actually going to be the 68 and the 23. That's Andrew and Harold Watkins. Those two guys made some serious contact there and quickly brings out the last caution you will see fly tonight.
Yep, and obviously if the caution comes out again one more time, race is over. Hard contact there for both of those race cars off turn number 1. Again, Jeremy talked about it earlier in the race. One of the most troublesome spots on this racetrack, especially on restarts. Saw it on Saturday quite a few times, especially in the Truck Series. Guys getting loose, guys fighting for position. Unfortunately, the 13 just gets loose. Right here, you see the 68 machine check up just a little bit, gets into the left rear, comes right down, and unfortunately, right there, the 23 machine, nowhere to go for Harold Watkins. Hard impact up and
Man.
off the ground goes that 68 machine. Unfortunate break for Andrew Little. Going to take a look here at a full speed replay to see that 68 machine go up and off the ground here. Riding on board. Hang on right here. You're going for a ride. Boom, right into the wall. Left front fender's gone. The hood's gone. All of a sudden, it appears back because, iRacing. But yeah, unfortunate break there, though, for the 23, especially because he was just an innocent bystander. And the 68, nowhere to really go, unfortunately. Tried to check up. Unfortunately, just gets caught up in it.
I'm so glad he was sitting in a virtual race car because that wall impact was a dead-on perpendicular hit right into that wall. And man, if that was an actual car, that would have put him, in severe pain in places he probably never knew he could feel pain. And with these next gen cars being so rigid, man, that would have hurt so bad. But yeah, that's gonna end his night. Um, and we're gonna have 2 laps to go in this restart, though. I think we're gonna see a very similar story, Jason, what we saw on that first restart. But I think the 45 has learned something a little bit to maybe contest for that turn 1 to get himself into P1.
Yeah, because I'm sure if Nate Campbell was probably replaying that last restart in his head, he was probably thinking currently as he sits in his virtual cockpit at home, probably, what could I have done differently? And he's glad he saw that caution. But the other thing is, he's only going to have one more chance to do it. The caution comes out, race is over. So he needs to make sure he's going to be up in the lead here when this race gets back and off turn number 1 and being able to compete with his teammate out of turn number 1. The 45 has to have a push. He's going to have to restart and fire off just as good as Ryan Bean down the front straightaway.
Yeah, 100% there. Andrew Little coming on the chat asking if it counts your laps if you have a meatball, which, sorry to say, that's going to be true. It will not count your laps at a certain point in time. But the 82 there, Stan Carnathan, is going to be your hashtag Get a Grip Lucky Dog Award recipient. He's going to go from 1 lap down back to the lead lap. Will resume this race in 24th place. As he's coming down to the service of his crew now. Maybe he has a fresh set of tires waiting for him. We're about to find out. If so, then he might be a weapon to get himself into the top 20, having the best set of tires on the track. But we have a lap and a half left before we're going to see green flag for the final time at Pocono.
I really do think that the 45, given the right opportunity and the right restart, fires off well enough. I really do think he has an opportunity to get to Ryan Bean, because obviously you're not going as fast as you would on the exit of turn 1 or on the entry of turn 1 per se as you would for a green flag start, or not green flag start, but a green flag racing scenario going back green. Obviously Ryan Bean is going to have a little bit of advantage going a little bit slower through turn 1, but Nate Campbell, it's going to be interesting if he's going to be able to roll the bottom a little bit better. I believe the 28 is going to choose the top lane, considering the fact that the 45 was on the top lane last time around. So they're going to get double file. I think Ryan Bean's going to be in a pretty good spot, but due to this cloud cover and due to not be as fast, maybe Nate Campbell has a shot here, Jeremy.
As we can pull up the weather on the track right now for this final restart, we'll take a look and see what that exactly looks like. Still 2-mile-an-hour wind, 77 in the air. Not really changed since the start of this race, but that track temp started at 99, now down to 84 with this cloud cover that's recently presented itself in this past 20 laps or so, kind of keeping it cool. But I know that upper half of the racetrack has the most grip regardless, and the 28 realizes this. He's going to try to utilize it to his advantage. You might see him even go to the third lane in the opening corner on this final restart just to try to get any speed possible over his teammate, the 45, and Nathan Campbell.
Yeah, for sure. You want to make sure you fire off perfect going through the Geico restart zone. And if you're the 45 of Nathan Campbell, you're trying to fire off just as good as your teammate, if not better. And coming to the restart here, he's going to need a little bit of help. But due to being on that bottom, you can't get nearly as much help as you could the top lane, like we've seen here tonight all night long. Nathan Campbell's going to have the restart of his life right here if he wants to have any shot remotely at his teammate going into one.
Yeah, he's going to give it all he can here. No question about it. We're going to see here. Final time. Pace cars are going to dip down pit road. Let's see how this restart will play out. Andrew Little still smoking around the track, coming through the pit road. Finally, green flag is out, and the 28 with the most casual jump and able to clear his teammate at the same token. That's going to give a quick run here for the 28 into turn number 1. Should be able to separate himself here, as the top two really have got themselves a gap here, as they're 3 wide for about 7th, 8th, and 9th place here.
45 gets a little bit arrow tight off the corner. Some guys hitting the wall off the corner. Remember, next flag ends the race, whether it be the caution or the checkered possibly here. So down the back straightaway into 2 for the second to last time possibly. Nathan Campbell all over the bumper of Ryan Bean, trying to make a move, coming to the white flag into turn 3. He'll look to the inside right here into turn 3. Battle for the lead.
I thought the 45 was going to make the dip to the bottom, but he waited till corner entry there, and it looks like he still might have a chance here. Side by side, white flag is out, presented by nobody. Drag race down the long pond straightaway. Going to be turn 1 completely nose to nose in this corner.
Down into turn 1 for the final time here tonight through that Trenton Motor Speedway inspired turn. The 45 gets a little bit arrow tight into the corner, allowing Ryan Bean to get ahead. Believe the 45 may have brushed the wall off the corner. Ryan Bean is seeming to be all right for the final time down the back straightaway. Brian Fine pulls out a line into the tunnel turn.
Number 3 of Bob Fitzpatrick, 11th place at last lap. Runs out of field. There's 2 other guys out of field as well. The 45 is also out of field. A lot of people could not make 1/2 of a lap left. And this is going to be completely clear for the 28 of Ryan Bean, who does have enough fuel to bring home the second checkered flag in a row here for the 213 Simware 212 at Pocono Raceway.
What a finish. And I was wondering, we didn't really touch up on it, but I was like, man, is there really that low fuel? But I didn't think much about it because it was only lap 48 when these guys last pitted. And I was like, oh man, they're running the apron. Maybe these guys are saving fuel, but I didn't really think much of it. And sure enough, the 45 may have lost that race, Jeremy, due to sputtering down the front straightaway into turn number 1. Maybe it wasn't being arrow tight here. We might have to ask around here during post race or possibly after the race. But Ryan Bean able to save just enough fuel to come home across the line. Brian Fine, he finishes in a fine 2nd place position, no pun intended. And Kevin Zabladil finishes 3rd, plus 25 positions, and Brian Fine plus 27 from where he started. But Ryan Bean, the man who was pretty much dominant all night long, gets the job done here tonight. What a race and what a drive.
We know all of our puns here, Mr. Jason, are always intended. You see Nathan Campbell there on this restart, on the final lap here. He had a great effort here and just had to give up corner entrance here. I think he knew at this point his fuel was going low. Maybe he felt the sputter, and right here you see the RPM bar at the bottom half of that digital screen just bouncing around a little bit, and right here is where it fully says, you know what, I'm going to be done. And this is going to allow the 57 of Brian to get to the bottom. You see him bump him actually right there, saying, hey, come on, let's go, let's go. Then he realizes, hey, he's out. I gotta do something here to make a pass here. And that's just a heartbreak there for the 45, who had a dominant performance coming up through the field to get where he was. And 2 weeks in a row, that 28 car finds the wall trying to do a burnout, which still surprised me. This is Pocono. 7 lanes, and you find the wall to hit. Either way, this is going to bring us our unofficial results here, presented by Admin Box, where Ryan Bean's going to bring home the checkered flag for the 2nd time in a row. Brian Fine's going to finish P2. Kevin Zabladil in 3rd. Zach Schrenthal in 4th. Blake Howell 5th. Tony Ludi in 6th. Justin Hendry in 7th. Nolan Potter 8th place. 9th place belongs to James Fitzmaurice. And tonight's top 10 finisher, number 5 of Matt Hayden.
20, Adam Boughton finishes in the number 10 machine. He'll come home 11th tonight. The number 12 spot, Matt Upbrook in the 16 machine. 13th tonight is the 82 of Stan Carnathan. 14th, Harold Watkins. 15th, Richard Gonzalez. 16th is Harold Rothery in the 7 machine. 17th is James Catrone. 18th, James Wright. 19th, Jerry Culver. And the 20th, man, what could have been, Nathan Campbell sputtering into turn number 1. He'll finish in the top 20 position, right on that number 20 position.
Gavin Ruff, 21st. Bob Fitzpatrick also runs out of fuel, finishes 22nd, the last car on the lead lap. 23rd on back, 1 lap down or more. That's going to be Mark Thibodeau. 24th, Stephen Baldwin. 25th, Robert Fitzpatrick Sr. 26th, Kane Lee. 27th, Andrew Little. 28th, Michael Carter. 29th, Brock Potter. 30th place, Michael Sheffield. 31st, Rusty Modesty. 32nd, Anthony Yunes, and the last place guy, Michael Martino, who technically made grid but finishes 84 laps down, will be your 33rd place finisher. We're going to get our top 3 together. We'll be back after just a few messages for the post-race show. And welcome to the Martin Sports Post Race Show, as we're going to talk to our top 3 finishers of this 213 Simware 212 and get their final thoughts of this race here this evening. First, we're going to bring in Kevin Zabladil as he enters the chat here. Mr. Kevin, or Karen, whoever your name is on Discord, how's it going, man?
Doing good. How about you?
Hey, man, we're doing excellent here. You guys provided an excellent show for us this evening, and you had a pretty eventful race yourself there. Started 28th, I think, on that stage break. You found yourself there in the top 5, and from that point, you just didn't let go of the top 5 or top 10. So first and foremost, how did you get there with the strategy, and then how were you able to maintain? Did you have like a bad qualifying lap, or were you just kind of planning to ride in the back and then move your way forward?
Well, no, I didn't qualify. I missed qualifying completely, and in fact didn't even run any practice laps. Been busy with work stuff, and so I was trying to get caught up and cramming as much homework in as I could, and then jumped in right before we gridded up, and just figured I'd buckle down and try to make the best out of it. So I didn't pit at that stage caution, and figured I could kind of pit at the first yellow before the stage break, and then from there you could make it on one more stop. So that's why I came in. My design was to pit with 39 to go. You can make 39 laps on a tank of fuel. So I was going to come in with 39 to go under green, and we ended up getting a yellow right as I hit pit road. So that put me back to the back of the line again, and got a penalty for hitting a closed pit, but I was already committed. So then kind of just came back through again. But but that was a lot of fun. I have an extra set of tires. If anybody wants them, I guess I'll throw them up on eBay.
That's pretty funny. I think that there's a few guys who could probably use that extra set of Goodyear Eagles here tonight. But Kevin, man, you finished third tonight, plus 25 from where you started. Hell of a run, obviously. And you take this momentum. You go to, I believe it's Richmond next week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, Richmond.
Yep, Richmond. How do you feel going into there next week, knowing that that's pretty much a tire conservation racetrack with how much the turns are just, they're banked, they're wide, and you can't really drive on the right front and the right rear as much as you would at a short track.
And you can't, and it's hard as hell to pass there. So you can't, normally when you go to a high wear track, I like to try to save a set. I had a set still sitting there thinking that, if we got a caution with 20 to go, I'd come in and be a superhero. And I don't know. I haven't given it too much thought. I may try doing that at Richmond, or I may just try to not put myself in a bad spot. It's going to be a challenge. I haven't got a chance to run any laps there yet. So TBD on everything Richmond. I'm just happy I survived tonight.
We'll talk to the admin, see if you can get a tire rollover rule and have 3 sets for next week. But man,
Hey, I'll take
congratulations! Right?
Hey, and I gotta
Absolutely.
give a shout out to Brock Potter. Back as I was hanging on with those old tires, right before it was my turn to come in and pit, I had a big moment through the tunnel turn, and unfortunately, he kind of had nowhere to go and kind of ruined his race. So obviously, I kind of played a different strategy, and definitely not my intention to screw up somebody else's night in the process.
Yeah, 10-4 on that. I'm pretty sure that he would appreciate you responding to that. And nothing looked intent all night long. It was just racing deals, but unfortunately, it did take out some people. And before we let you go this evening, the floor is yours. Who would you like to thank before we let you go?
I mean, you guys for putting on this broadcast, and just everybody, 213 somewhere, Ludi and Sheffield, and everything they do, and Sheffield graphic design. Just everybody that lets this league run. Waterford Concepts, got to give them a shout out for all your 3D printing needs. But just everybody that lets us come out here and act like we're somebody on Tuesday nights. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, sir. It looks like a lot of fun out from the broadcast booth. But yeah, congratulations once again on 3rd place, and we'll catch you next week at Richmond to see what you come up with for us.
Thanks.
Yes, sir. And that was Kevin Zabladil, driver the number 17, Zabmoto's Chevrolet Camaro. Now we're going to turn our attention to the number 57 machine of Brian Fine. Mr. Brian, this is Jeremy in the Nerd TV booth. Congratulations on 2nd place.
Appreciate it, man.
Hey, man, yeah, you and Kevin, you started 28th and 29th respectively, and you're sitting P2 and P3. Similar story for you. Did not put a qualifying time down. Was that by design, or did you miss qualifying as well, or what was your thoughts, and how did you make it through the field?
We missed qualifying. We missed the drivers meeting, so we elected to take an EOL. Just trying to keep running and just try to stay out of the way was the main thing.
Brian, congratulations too, by the way, on 2nd. I'm sure it's a fine position to run in, no pun intended, but I'm sure you're annoyed by that because you probably hear that crap all the time. But obviously, you finished 2nd tonight. You pitted on lap 94 there. That's what it's telling me right now on the leaderboard. Did you have one more set of tires later on in the race compared to everybody? Because we saw a various amount of strategies tonight where guys were pitting early. We just talked to Kevin. He said he was going to pit, and then he didn't take tires, and he waited forever and then got caught at the wrong point, wrong time. How was your tire situation tonight? Were you on a different strategy compared to most guys like Ryan and Nate?
No, I felt like, we were all on the same strategy. I mean, some guys were going outside of the box. That was actually my last set at lap 94, but the tires were still sticking on the right side about 94 to 95. It was just trying to baby them for at least 15, 20 laps. And after that 15, 20 laps and that sticky goodness was gone after that, time, it was time to go. And it really showed.
Yeah, it was really all week long. I've seen just a lot of tire not falling off here at Pocono last week in New Hampshire. Just that low profile tire just kind of sticks around a little bit longer than some other tires. But you made the most of it, man. You did a hell of a job maintaining second place there through a pretty crazy 213 Simware race here tonight. Final thoughts before we let you go this evening.
Man, I hope you guys really enjoyed that race because it was getting to be a nail biter with fuel. I think I ended the race with 0.7 left of fuel in the tank.
Yeah, you almost held victim. I think I saw 5 or 6 cars run out of the field there on that final half a lap. So thankfully you did not do that, and it locked you into P2, man. But congratulations overall, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week at Richmond.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you for what you do.
Yeah, thank you, man. And that was number 57 there, Brian Fine of the hashtag Logan Strong Chevrolet Camaro. Now it's time to load up victory lane for the man who's going to collect his second checkered flag in a row, Mr. Ryan Bean. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
What a crazy race, man. That first half, you were just completely dominant. And then the 45 comes up to you, and you and him just put on a hell of a race. At some point, did you think that you might not have what it takes to get that checker flag, or were you just kind of saving the middle of the race?
Yeah. When Nate passed me there, I was getting super looser than I had. That was the longest run I had done at the point, and I kind of just told Nate, go, because I'm gonna be saving my tires, and he looked like he was comfortable. But once he got in front of me, I started to figure something out, and I obviously was pushing too hard in the lead. That's what I figured out. But at that point, it was just kind of stay with him, keep that gap behind us, because I knew we were gonna fight at the end, and I kind of just waited for him to make a mistake, and then he made it, and I was able to clear him off of 3, and then yellow comes out and chaos ensues.
Yeah, and Ryan, congratulations too, by the way, on the win tonight. And really, the only question I have for you, because we were sitting here and debating it right after the flag, and I was seeing everybody kind of coasting along down to the bottom of the racetrack under caution when that caution came out with 2 laps to go. And in my head, I'm like, surely fuel's not a thing right now. I mean, these guys put on lap 48. I can't see the fuel, really running out. And then it didn't really click to me that I was like, oh crap, this is a 2.5 mile racetrack. So this is like Daytona Talladega. You guys are on the gas, you guys are laying off a little bit, some parts more than others. But on that last restart, it looked like Nate got to you down the straightaway, was side drafting you. And the only question is, did he sputter going into turn 1 possibly? Because we could not tell going into 1.
Yeah, I think he did. So, he's next to me, and the second I upshifted to 5th, he did too, but it sounded like it burped a little bit, and he was drastically slower. So he must have burped because he did run out right after the exit of 1. I finished the race with like 0.2 gallons. We didn't realize we were bad on fuel until too late on the first green white checker. So some of us weren't able to save.
So you had just enough fuel. That's crazy.
Yeah, I could barely do the burnout at the end, which I guess I'll take that any day of the week. But that was not. We were not prepared to have to save fuel. We weren't even looking at it because we had that long green flag run. We just figured everybody spaced out. No yellow's going to come out, and then sure enough, now we've got other things to worry about besides everybody else now being on top of us on the restart.
Speaking of that burnout, that short one you did, how are you going to have 8 lanes of racetrack to work with and find the outside wall?
I've hit the wall twice now. I hit it last week.
You did.
He had to crack the back of the car, as Chad Knaus would say. He had to crack the back of the car.
I had like 0.1 gallon of fuel. That's why I was saving it coming back around. So I just said, I'm going to fling it at like 120 miles an hour, and that's my burnout. And it just went to the wall. And I couldn't reverse it. I was out of fuel, and it was just embarrassing. I need to work on that a little more. But yeah, I'll just.
You should hit the water barrels next time.
Yeah, I was going to. I've actually done that before at this track for the league because I usually finish second. So that's usually where I'll just end it up at the end of the race because I don't want to see that car anymore.
Well, you got the big win count last season, and then this season you already got 2 out of the first 3 races. So maybe next victory that you come across, you won't find the wall. But give us final thoughts, and who would you like to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, final thoughts. League put on a great show today. Yellows were they weren't as bad as last week, and I think we showcased what we can do as a league today, and I'm proud of the league, and let's just keep doing that some more. I got to thank the family. I know they're watching. Thank you guys up in the booth. Thank Ludi and Sheffield, and then last but certainly not least, my amazing teammates. Let's keep the stealth win streak going.
Absolutely, man. Congratulations once again, and good luck the rest of the season. We will see you at Richmond.
Sir, thanks.
Yes, sir. That was Ryan Bean, driver the number 28 Toyota Camry. And Jason, you said this is your first time calling the next gen cars here. We saw it yesterday. It was a hell of a race. What's your thoughts from the booth?
Man, it really was an interesting race to call here tonight. There's Walter. What's up, Walt? And I will say, man, do these next gen cars really do put on a show compared to the trucks? And biasly, I absolutely love the trucks. They're always going to be one of my favorites, but a lot of people would call me a hack since obviously they're not that hard to drive. But these guys put on a hell of a show tonight, man. I mean, had it not been for that caution, I would have died. I would have paid money to see that battle between Ryan Bean and Nate Campbell because they were back and forth, back and forth. One guy was better on the one end of the racetrack. The other guy was better on the other end of the racetrack and vice versa, etc. They put on a hell of a battle, and I really expected that to, excuse me, but like a shit show there at the end. That's what I really thought it was going to be on the restart. And sure enough, it wasn't. We had a clean restart. Everybody gave everybody room, a little bit of shuffling throughout the pack there on the final restart off turn number 1. But I mean, man, Ryan Bean, 0.2 gallons left compared to Nate Campbell's 0. That's really ultimately what won Ryan Bean the race. What if Nate Campbell just had that little bit of splash and go type style left of fuel in the tank? Could he have overtaken Ryan Bean through out of turn 1? Would he have gotten to him? Would they have wrecked? We don't know. Ryan Bean wins 2 in a row. Unfortunate heartbreaker for one Stealth Motorsports driver, but triumph for the other. So good job to Ryan Bean. I had an absolute blast calling this race tonight. I'm definitely looking forward to any Pocono race that I call from here on out with these cars.
Yeah, 100%. Me as well. Count me in for it at any point in time. Dustin, what was your thoughts on this race from the production booth?
On the production side, I mean, it's kind of hard not to put on a good show with what these drivers did on the track. Sure. I mean, these guys, they laid it all out. I mean, a lot of these bigger tracks like this, the mid part of the race, especially on the long green flag runs, is usually one of the hardest parts from a production standpoint, because it's hard to try to find good, solid racing. But I mean, these guys were running 2, 3, 4 wide. I mean, we had near misses. We had, amazing saves coming all the way down to pit strategy, green, white, checkered after green, white, checkered, all the way down to fuel. I mean, heartbreaker for the 45 of Campbell losing it, sputtering, coming out of 1, and just completely, falling all the way back to P20 after he'd been up leading it. But I mean, overall, it was a fantastic race. I mean, you can't get any better than that. And I mean, this goes to show, I think these drivers here, they have a target on their back right now, and it's going to be that team, the 28 and the 45. They've won the last 3. Campbell won the first race, and now it's been Bean the last 2. So I look forward to seeing what happens at Richmond, because it's short track racing, baby. I love short track racing, and you know what happens at short tracks? That short track mentality, and you have that short track temper. So look to see some sparks.
Yeah, they're looking to have that Red Bull effect here on the RSR Next Gen Cup Series, taking 3 for 3 checker flags of this 2023 B season. But it is our time to close this thing out. And before we do so, I'm giving a quick shout out to all of our sponsors and partners one last time. RSR Next Gen Cup Series, one of the title series running under the Evolution Racing League banner. Stay up to date on all the racing news by visiting facebook.com/RSR League. Best One Tire and Service. Looking for a one-stop automotive repair and tire shop? Visit bestonetire.com to find a location nearest you. Admin box built by iRacers for iRacers to utilize in league and hosted races. Find them at adminbox.com. Blake Howell Designs. If you're looking for a one-of-a-kind way to showcase your sponsors, and look no further than Blake Howell Designs. Martin Sports, top quality apparel to make you look stylish and feel comfortable. Find them at martinsports.gg. iRacing iFlag, get your notifications just a fraction of a second faster without ever leaving your focus from the racing action, and find them at iracingiflag.com. The Butt Kicker, get the ultimate feel in your race rig from the track bumps into your sim rig. It's a one-of-a-kind product, and you're going to find them at thebuttkicker.com. Team Watson Racing Setup, some of the best oval asphalt setups you're ever going to find on the iRacing sim. That's at teamwatsonracing.com. And then lastly, Roasted Gems Coffee. Coffee beans roasted just for you. Start your day the right way with coffee from Roasted Gems. All right, guys, it's going to be it for us tonight. We're going to see you tomorrow for the FTSR Martin Sports Truck Series. Until then, get your nerd on.